Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures decidedly in negative territory here with the triple Qs down 2/3% and the SPY down half. The Dow looking pretty much the same way, down 0.5%. The Russell 2000 faring the best of the four, down 1/3% here, but it is very negative to start the morning. It certainly is not negative, though, if you are looking at oil. USO gapping up quite aggressively here, more than 4 4/5, almost 5%, on the back of more Middle Eastern tensions overnight, yet another night of strikes. But let's get right down to work. Big earnings reports after the bell yesterday. Google and Tesla both reporting, both decidedly negative as well. Google down 5%, Tesla down 7%. The market very concerned about the amount of capex that's being spent by both companies. IBM kind of already knew that they were going to have a bit of a softer quarter, down 1.5% now, up 4 3/4. But there's a lot of names this morning, Sia, that we have to talk about, not just the earnings names. We also have some headlines from Lily.
Lines from Lily. So I'm just going to pull up the chart over here and see what's going on with the stock at the moment. So you have Lily saying that it will be filing for approval for its next generation obesity drug in the first quarter of the year 2027 as well, Sharif. Treatment has already succeeded in 2 late-stage trials. Previously, however, we had Eli Lilly saying that it would submit an application as early as this year for the weekly injection that is Retritude, which works differently, and also it has appeared to be more effective than existing shots and pills. So in 2 separate phase 3 trials, it has delivered significant weight loss as well as improvements in a key measure of blood sugar levels in adults with obesity and 2 major complications, type 2 diabetes and unestablished cardiovascular disease as well.
Absolutely.
So it's a very good look over here.
All right, guys, more to talk about as well. We still have the AMD conference today. We're looking for Dr. Lisa Su to continue to announce new products. Intel also looking at doing an interesting purchase from Asia. Both AMD and Intel are actually looking to the Asian markets for semiconductor equipment as they look to get around the glut or the choking of inventory. Mobileye, guys, looking at changing some leadership. Lockheed, LMT reported this morning they're up 5.5. You also have Southwest, which is down 3 4/5. They also reported this morning. Comcast pretty much flat, and T-Mobile as well, boys, down here 5 1/5 on the back of a tough report.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. We have a friend, Kevin O'Leary always says, it's all about the cash flow.
That's right.
Well, today, it's about the negative cash flow. Like, we're all wrapped up about CapEx. The consequence of the CapEx is Alphabet negative cash flows, Tesla negative cash flows. This is what they don't like. Well, and the good news is, as SpaceX also continues to fall, well, it's actually SpaceX is up 0.5%, but you know what it's been doing. As it continues to fall, Elon kind of hinted again at further that there could be a combination in the future between the two. So kind of lump them together. I don't know if that weighs down on it. I still think it's a negative cash flow issue. But this is where we're at. You get punished for spending. You get punished for not being thrifty. I don't see any other way that these guys are going to be building robots without spending a bunch of money retrofitting. And of course, with Terafab, that's going to be costly. But down 7% anyways. But hey, at least ServiceNow's up, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even looked at many of these names.
Of course, ServiceNow's up and Alphabet's down, right? Because
I mean, Tesla's just, I mean, I can, maybe our chart's a little bit better because this one's not showing the daily move. I was sort of saying this earlier, and that is that all we are is right back to sort of where we were in April on both of these names, for Google and for Tesla, of course. And it's just down into here into 340. So this doesn't really matter. Like, unless you were able to get something out here, 450, 460, 440, for basically anywhere before today, then this is just losing 3 months worth of gains to now make another decision on what you want to do with the stock. Revenues, I mean, we just went over some of the numbers there, but revenues higher for Tesla. That's nice. We know that they do have a great product and they're selling a bunch of them. We saw the deliveries number was greater than expected for Q2. but it's his earnings, right? I mean, it's like the earnings fell 33 cents, expected 50 cents. So, they miss on the EPS and then they go out and spend a little bit more money there. And now we have that whole wonder of, well, we've always had it. What does happen with SpaceX and Tesla? Do they get wrapped up into one here? But the free cash flow, the more expensive CapEx hit there, just confusing the stock, down 7% today. And I think you do want to watch out for this 340 break spot. And I mean, in the exact same story, we're going to get over to Google, I'm sure, in a moment as well, down 5% or 4.5%, now 5%. And that's just right back to where it was again back in April, right into here as well, if not trying to get a little lower. So I think that we talk about buying good companies at 200 period moving averages, and that's right where you're going to wake up today and find Google. So, I bought some at 350 last time. There's reasons why I'm raising cash and, trying to find out better opportunities out there to put my money to work, because it's like what I was saying earlier again, all of this, like, unless you got something out up here, you've just lost that whole move. Right. And so, of course, it's paper losses. Like you didn't, they were in your account. Now they're gone and there's nothing you can do about it except for hope that you made some kind of decision to sell something near the tops over the last couple months. And now you're sitting on more cash, because if you're just putting new money to work now, that's fine. But if you were able to sell shares up here at 400, sit on 10 grand cash, rebuy those exact same shares, the same value down here, 10 more grand, well, you're going to get, 30% more shares today than you would have up here, so, or 25% more shares. So, sitting on your hands is a good strategy. There's no doubt about that. But when you buy back stock today, you're putting in new money, which I think is a great opportunity to do that. You don't want, cash is only paying 3 to 4%, but that's the rub whenever earnings season comes and goes. You wonder about why didn't get out higher? Why didn't I buy more lower when the stock, reports a great number like ServiceNow, as Neil mentioned there, and you mentioned earlier. Like, did you think that software was really going to go? So have you lost 5% now by not buying yesterday? I mean, there was opportunities where all we are is right back to where we were. Like we're at $100 right now on ServiceNow. Like that's still right here. So it's still lower than where we were. Yesterday, basically, on ServiceNow. This has a 103, we're down to 100. Yesterday, we did get that low of 90, but that high yesterday was 101, and right now you're at 100, So it's like you play the game and you just try to pick the best companies, and hopefully you're able to get a good average price, and that when you look at your account in a couple weeks, months, whatever, years, that you say, yeah, that was a decent decision, or maybe it wasn't. So I think we got two good companies here, Google and Tesla, that are on a little bit of a discount today, and you just wait to see. I think Tesla's a little more nervous. I think we can wrap our head around why we might buy a Google.
Easily.
More than we would buy Tesla there.
Easily.
But
because Google, when you look down the line, like you could look at that cloud growth, and it's like just sequentially, like quarter by quarter, improving. It's like 17% to 23%, because that's one of the things we wanted to see. You still see that nice growth going there. So that story, it's a little easier to comprehend. They can lean. They got YouTube as well. They got all those levers to pull. I mean, Tesla was never even like considered to be a good valuation. That's the trickier one. And to Sean's point, it is. I'll be the first to tell you, it is so much easier. Like if you're in, let's just say, any of the memory chip names, or when like ARM went parabolic, it's easier to be like, oh, I'm gonna trim 10% off this, I'm gonna trim 10% off that, when the stock is like doubling in a month. That's not as easy to do when you're looking at like a Tesla, because like it's not, like it wasn't doing anything so parabolic that makes you want to panic on the way up. Like, oh, I gotta take something out. And so it ends up a lot of times like those are the ones that you're just sitting back in it because it wasn't really doing anything. When a stock's going ham, you're like, oh yeah, seize that profit because it just doubled for me. Take 10, take 20, and then you buy that one back. But when it's a little bit of that malaise, it's so much more difficult. Just one more thing, because I mean, we're gonna go back to the desk in a quick little second. Yeah, about this, and this would be USO if you're wondering what this means. Oil and energy just continues to go higher and higher and higher. And it's intraday, You notice something like intraday, there haven't been any too ridiculously crazy upside days. Like there've been like small, a couple of bucks here, maybe back here. You're gonna like last week, a couple weeks ago, you're gonna get a big move. But like we're gapping and holding. Like remember yesterday was kind of like a sell day, most of the day in USO, but then we're just gapping higher overnight. And there hasn't even been that one relentless buying squeeze day just yet. But this gap is a little bit of acceleration because you had some more, as Sharif likes to put it, belligerencies overnight. So that continues to be a bit of a problem. So some small cappers probably going to get helped by that. But sorry, Ravi in the chat, because Battle's still stuck despite all of this. Battalion Oil and some of those other small cappers that used to go, oops, that's Blue Ocean, you don't really care about that. They're just stuck in the mud, is the best way to put it. They're not moving the way that they used to when you would get these massive gaps up. Like what's the point of looking to a small cap with a large short float when energy's up, USO's up 5%, and it's also up 5%. It makes it completely useless to look at Battle until it starts going. But there could be other small cappers out there for everybody, and sure, the energy trade is not going anywhere.
All right, let's go back to the desk and figure out what our next story is. We're glad to have Sia there today.
Yes, the inaugural morning routine here with Sia and I, guys. Let's talk a little bit about Google, because this was, well, there was a lot of good in this report, obviously, but there are concerns, Sia, continual concerns about the amount of money that they are spending on CapEx. I believe they did raise their guidance there substantially for how much they're looking at spending for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. So they have quietly raised their full year 2026 capex, I would say, to $195 billion to $205 billion, which is significantly up from the range of $180 billion to $190 billion. Now, right. Let's just quickly go over the numbers and what happened here. So EPS per share, now stay with me, $9.11 versus $2.88 expected. Let's take a look at what actually went on here. It's heavily distorted by the non-operating accounting that went on here. Nearly $98 billion in unrealized markup on Alphabet's stake in AI startup Anthropic was recorded under other income, quote unquote, artificially inflating its GAAP earnings per share far beyond core operating performance, Sharif.
That's fantastic. I mean, if I made $98 billion on an investment, I'd be very happy. Absolutely. No, but that's real. That's because we know that they have. They were one of the first to throw a lot of money behind Anthropic, and they're realizing that now. But the point is, it's a one-line item, and so it's not going to reoccur. The other thing that I kind of want to mention there, Google Cloud revenue. Mm-hmm. This thing just skyrocketed, 82% year-over-year jump in Google Cloud revenue, but their margins apparently faced unexpected pressure. People are saying compute constraints cost them too much money. They were also forced to lease third-party cloud capacity to fill all the demand that they have. So insatiable is the demand, they couldn't meet it with their own compute. And we know as well that they're renting compute from SpaceX AI, because like Anthropic, because you just can't meet that demand. So, yeah, guys, Google. You guys mentioned it at the top there. You'd probably buy Google ahead of Tesla. What are your thoughts right now, though?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't think it's an unpopular opinion. Our poll last night, and we only put 4 earnings names on the poll in the afternoon show, but it was Alphabet, Tesla, ServiceNow, and IBM.
And I get you, ServiceNow got the least.
It was actually
close.
IBM. It was close.
Okay.
It was, I think, 7.5% voted for IBM.
So it's like 12 both names that were the lowest are the only ones that were up.
Yeah, those
Remember
ones.
what we said? Oh, no, IBM's down right now, actually.
Yeah, IBM did give it back with 12%, but it was 60% for Alphabet. Now, I think that's with good reason. And look, we didn't specify a time frame, which I probably should have, but usually we're talking about what's going to happen on the earnings day. That's implicit when we do these polls. But there was a chance that everyone just liked Alphabet because they feel like it's the safer company. I would agree with that, but we were talking about what would be the best for today, which a lot of times it really just comes down to, okay, well, where is it positioned going into the earnings? In this particular case, you never want to hear that declining margins. You don't. At the end of the day, you don't want to hear negative cash flow. Obviously not. They do, again, you've got the growth to sustain this in the cloud. I think that's the one thing that you want to be able to lean on here. And maybe this is simply a case where it's going to pull back and start to look better on a P basis relative to its peers. But this is a 200-period moving average, and it's gone as of right now. It is 8:15 in the morning on earnings morning. So that 200 period, I mean, it's not really dead unless it closes underneath. So that's about it's about 329. So call it like the 330 level. It's basically where we had like the 630 spike too. So we could be 24 hours from now, if Google's back above 330, we're going to be talking about how it held that 200-period moving average. Now, I like Tesla for a trade a little bit better because it's like I'm more easily negative on Tesla than I am on Alphabet. So I'm more of like a stay away from Alphabet, look to see if it can hold that 330, give the 2 or 3 day rule. If it holds the 200 period after a few days, I think that's a nice little DCA. If it can't, then I have this old trend line from when it was channel up, and I just sort of left this channel trend in, and that corresponds with 300, 290 to 300, and then that becomes the buy zone post earnings. So if it doesn't hold the 200 period here, then I think you take some shares in that 290 to 300. And ultimately, I just feel Tesla just feels a little bit weaker and a little bit worse. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. In as far as Google's concerned, I'm actually going to try to buy some right now at the 200 period moving average for Google. So, yeah, I mean, I like the business. Obviously, the negative free cash flow or the lower free cash flow is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, free cash flow, the revenue minus capital expenditures, and obviously, if you're going to go from 195, 200 billion in capex there, you're going to get hit down 5%. I think it's worth stepping in and taking a little bit of action right there. And you guys know that I was selling some Marvell, AMD, and all that just to try to get longer in names that I think have a longer time frame for a runway. And I think Google is one of those names. So I'm going to put a little bit of cash to work right here today, and then we'll see what winds up happening if we can get into, which hopefully is not the case, into this $300 mark. Because thing about it is, when I think about what's going to happen with the future calls in the next couple of days with Microsoft and Apple, we don't need to worry about CapEx spending. I don't think they'll announce anything. If anything, it'll be smaller. We do know that the cloud has been a big business. So Microsoft's going to report a good cloud number, I would assume. And I would assume also Amazon's going to report a good cloud number. So that should help Google out as well. Google's cloud improving. So if Microsoft or AWS slip up on their cloud, that could result in a theory that more business is going into Google, and we can put even a bigger moat maybe around that as well. What platforms are you guys using? Yeah, so RH and IG. Robinhood and IG. Yeah, no. Okay, so we're just trading on here. This is our own software, and it's through a company called Real Trading. And so if you go here, Real Trading, you can Google it if you want to give Google some more money. And then you go into here, and this is
they need it.
Basically what we're doing right here. It's a prop floor that we're on, and here's Trader TV Live. You can see the very big logo right here on the page. Like, who's running this website? I have no idea. We trade in over 50 plus global markets. Everything's there's Brendan explaining with a very, very handsome face right there, explaining like who's doing this. I have to speak to somebody about this. But anyways, there you go. This is what we do, man. We have our own software right here, and it's all wrapped up into one. You can click on resources, Trader Resources, Trader TV, the real-time newsletter, and then we have a trading platform here as well that we use, and that's what we're using every single day. And it is a prop company, right? And so prop firm. So all the software that we're using right here is that. And then I just use through my bank. I don't have a Robinhood account or Webull or Wealthsimple or anything like that. So I don't really trade that actively outside of the show, more for long-term things. So, paying the $10 a trade or whatever it happens to be, depending on the quarter, doesn't really hurt my bottom line too much. But yeah, so that's what I'm using. I think that's a great question, of course. So yeah, thanks for all of that. We do have, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
I was going to say, before we go to Joe, we're going to get into the options here, but the president has posted, and this is what has been posted. A year ago, the United States of America was attacked very powerfully by the Houthis for their interference with commerce and trade by shooting at ships. Since that time, and during our conflict with Iran, they have acted very responsibly. Unfortunately, now they are starting up again, shooting at 2 Saudi Arabian ships last night. Please let this truth serve to represent that if they do this again, the U.S. will hold Iran responsible, in that the Houthis are a surrogate and or proxy of Iran, and major military punishment will be inflicted upon Iran and, of course, the Houthis themselves, who I am very disappointed with in that they have until now acted very professionally and smart. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President Donald J. Trump. I can get off Tesla for a quick little second. Just to show you guys, since that post, USO, there was a slight tick up and now coming back in, but we're already up 5 points here. Energy's kind of already on the move. So there's a response from the president. Let's get over to some options action with our man, Joey Options.
All right, guys, welcome and good morning. Let's take a look at some of the derivatives activities from yesterday's session. Now, a couple of the names that were reporting after the bell yesterday. We're going to kick things off with Alphabet, Google here at the top of our list. Now trading substantially south of these levels here, guys. $360 strike price expiring tomorrow. We want to keep an eye out on some of these contracts here. Now, why were we looking at this specific level? You can see throughout the week we had a issue breaking and holding this specific strike price, 360 that is. Now, as for the open interest, this was the largest that we've seen across the strikes on this expiration cycle. Now, as for the volume, 16,000 contracts on yesterday's session, open and close. Let's keep an eye out on it, but with our bid in the ask, we're only sitting on a $10 spread, but this delta is going to drop substantially down. What we're going to be looking at here is now we have a 75% chance that this contract is going to expire out of the money. That's probably going to increase after the bell. Now, we will have some implied volatility holding on to some of the value because we have an increase at the money IV sitting at 98.4%. Sorry. But what happened throughout yesterday's session is that we did lose 80% from the open. 82% of the value of this contract was eliminated from the pricing itself. All right, guys. So one thing that we're going to keep a focus on, considering we are going to have a gap down within this options contract, your bid and the ask are going to substantially change, and you will see a decrease in your delta metric. Once again, increasing the probability of this specific contract expiring out of the money. If you were fortunate enough, I know Ozan was writing some Tesla calls, we'll get into that momentarily, but if you were an options writer, you're going to be already collecting a lot of that premium. All right, guys, moving forward, Sharif, if we get, there we go, bang. $400 strike price. Guys, what are we even talking about here? All the way up in this neck of the woods, well, we're going to be looking at the substantial amount of open interest at that level. 16,000 contracts still currently open, and the volume sitting around 22,600. Now, once again, this is a writer's world. If you were fortunate enough to do so, just like Ozan was, and I'm like, Ozan, are you sure you wanted to do that? It's in his case. He should have wrote more, and that's exactly what he said to me the other day. Now, as for the bid and the ask, sitting on a $10 spread, all right, guys, that will change probably after the open. I wouldn't be surprised if we tighten up a little bit, but that delta is drastically going to drop, putting the options writer and the probability in your favor. Now, at the money IV, relatively cool here for Tesla, sitting around 99.3% there, guys. That will probably uptick after the bell. Now, as for the contract itself, we're sitting around 12% to the downside. Nothing crazy, but once again, this contract by the end of the week tomorrow is most likely going to expire worthless. So once again, if you were on the buyer side of things, not necessarily having the best time, but if you were an options writer, you're starting to collect a lot of premium. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Get that premium.
Well, that's what the right's all about. But the thing is that, like you had mentioned up there, is that the Google, because, well, you were talking about Tesla, weren't you?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, so Tesla and Google are both, I mean, Tesla's now down 7%, I guess. Google's implied move was 5.9. So any writer right now would be obviously doing well because you're not near that level yet. But I mean, if you wrote it for Friday, then you still got a couple more days today and tomorrow to see where this stock winds up trading. So I think that's going to be a good one there. And then the Tesla as well. I thought they had a similar expectation of a move, and that one today down 7.5. So, you know, those if it was calls and depending on whatever the example Joe just gave there, you're probably doing okay if you bet on the short side there of Tesla. So Google kind of a neutral play there, writing, but it looks like Tesla will become a this may even get lower. Like, we'll have to see if this does wind up breaking lower. Right now, even in the pre-market here, you see we were just at 350, you know, 30 minutes ago. Now you're like, that's not good. Now you're down to 345, seeing if we can hold that. So you've already lost $5 in the last half hour since we started talking. So not a great open expected here for me for Tesla anyways. I don't have Tesla on my mind today. I do have Google more. And I just think that Google is more at a psychological level of this 325. If we dip down a couple bucks into 320, I think that could be a good bouncing spot there for Google. And then that'll give it about its 6% down. And that's what the rough estimate of the move was yesterday. So I think if we get a bid, catch a bid around 320, I think is what we're kind of what I'm sort of looking for here today. I'm just about to write that down. The only name that I have so far on my note is going to be NVIDIA. NVIDIA's traded really well the last couple of days, and they've really started to, you know, put the sort of pedal to the metal here on an upswing. We're gonna, again, the market's coming in. Like, the market's now down 1%, right? So we're starting to bleed out a little bit there. Will we eventually take out some of these pre-market levels? I hope so. But that's the look for right now. I wrote down 212 long on Google, on NVIDIA. That would be breaking right here, the 200 period moving average. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm looking at right now. And I'm also looking at Randy, who I think just brought, hopefully it's bananas. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's all good. That's all good.
Hopefully we got that.
Yeah, I said hopefully
breakfast.
It was some sort of good, decent breakfast. Yeah. Will it be samosas and eggs? Who knows?
Sometimes they do that. Adam James abroad. Oh, we got a list of super cats.
We
got a super chat with a list of small caps
that are all super cats.
Super cats.
We buy.
The Dundada.
Wow,
which one of them is the Dundada?
We buy's on our.
Yeah, we buy's on the watch. ADVB. That's one from yesterday. LGCL. I do believe is LGCL not one from yesterday. Maybe no. This was the one that was holding underneath VWAP all morning long. I do remember looking at this. So you got a lot in here. This one probably a Louis special because it's underneath VWAP and holding. That 707 came in holdings, which is JEM. Don't even know. Well, I don't know what the ticker. Probably, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on the ticker name, but 707 came in holdings. Yeah, that sounds legit. That's another gapper. But again, underneath that volume weighted average price, you're going to see a little bit of a pattern with there. And then we buy, you'll find that one on the watch list. They do actually have a story going with it. Really, and I think a lot of times when we're curating the free watch list, like when we're doing this, like a lot of times you'll see a bunch of different names that you can throw in there for the small capper, right? So these guys, 4 million float, expanding their China inbound tourism strategy, yada, yada. Ooh, industry partnerships and AI-assisted travel services. Okay, that's nice. But the difference here is it was holding like key support, right? Like the $1 level was being supported. So when you're looking at this from the structure, this one was actually still holding that key higher low, showing more signs. They all had good volume and they're all gapped up. But this one just looked a little bit stronger. That's why it made it onto the to the watch list. And Colin, the only Super Cat reference. For those who don't know, keeping it old school. I know Joe knows who Super Cat is. At least he better know who Super Cat is. The original Don Dada. You don't know? Because you only know Jamaican artists. That's what.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Super Cat was legit. Old school reggae artist for sure. Well, at least Sharif, please tell me you got the Super Cat reference. You too? Y'all terrible. Oh, horrible. And you know Caravan is coming up too. That's the worst part about it. Like the biggest Caribbean festival, like, is like right around the corner here in Toronto.
I think it's a bigger blunder for Joseph not to know. He's Caribbean. You know, I'm on the other side of the world, you know what I mean? Like
See, that's the
I
problem.
know Red Rat.
Joe's young. These guys know Red Rat because they're a little bit younger. That's fine. That's how. We'll quickly go back because I was going through these. I was going through the list of small cappers. Oh, you guys are absolutely killing me. No, but I just wanted to remind everybody, like when you're trading any of those, and whether it's, and I'll leave it on W buy for a quick second, and then we'll finish the thought and move on. Try to remember, you know that part of the downside. Now we're in the day trading, it's not the end of the world, but part of the downside is the offering. So overnight trading, do be wary of any offerings. You want to know whether they have filed and can just drop one on you. And thank you for another super chat there, doubling it up. Let's go to C at the desk to get some numbers.
We also keep an eye out, have the numbers coming in just in a couple moments. The Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming in, as well as the initial jobless claims. Now, numbers that were projected for the Chicago Fed National Activity Index were previously in May at negative 0.10%. April was positive 0.19%. So we're going to also get that in a couple of seconds. Initial jobless claims previously stood at 208,000. So would be curious. I'm curious to see if it drops or if it increases. So would be a good outlook over there. They should come out any minute now. We're going to also take a look just at the market and what's going on until we wait for the numbers to come out here. We have the SPY that's currently down 0.12%. Also scanning for certain headlines if you have any. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to take a moment over here. I'm going to check for you if there's any certain headlines coming in right now. We had Neil also talk about U.S. President Donald Trump speaking and certain headlines coming out over there. So there were attacks fresh that also took place. We're going to send it to Sharif right now.
Yeah, well, so we'll get to service. We'll talk about ServiceNow. We'll wait for the numbers to populate. So ServiceNow, one of the only really nice moves up this morning after the earnings report yesterday. Very interesting headlines here, Sia. Let's talk about some of these numbers, right? So revenue subscription climbed 24.5%. They're bringing in a little bit less than $4 billion now on the quarter. That is ahead of expectations. But part of their Q2 revenue outperformance was driven by an acceleration in U.S. government spending. It's not new money. It's just money that's being realized a little bit sooner. So this money was supposed to be spent in Q3. It ended up being spent in Q2. So it ended up artificially inflating the quarter's numbers, but it was going to be spent anyway. We also have to keep on an eye on the GAAP and non-GAAP EPS. We talk about this often. So the non-GAAP here looked fantastic. $930 million, 90 pennies EPS per share, beating consensus. But when you look at the GAAP EPS, it dropped 35% sequentially. They brought in about $298 million or 29 cents per share. Well, how come? Heavy stock-based compensation, acquisition-related amortization, and they're spending $632 million basically on new CapEx for data centers and the like. So interesting look there. Their RPOs as well, their remaining performance obligations did grow 21%, but it looks like more money that is being spent in the next 2 to 3 years rather than any money that's going to be spent right now with them. So I don't think that they're going to realize the revenue all that well. Do we have the numbers?
Yeah, we do have the numbers. They're right out over here. We have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index that's actual at negative 0.02, previous at negative 0.19. And initial jobless claims looking good over here, 187,000 over previous number. That was a 209,000 forecasted number that stood at 210,000. So coming lower than forecasted expectations here, initial jobless claims.
Yeah, we're seeing the market just did a little bit of a, we'll call it a right turn to the downside. We're already lower. Google down, Tesla down. The market's obviously was already going to be in the red. But yeah, you're going to see a bit of a drop here in the Qs. To put it in perspective, like we just dropped about $1 in the Qs here, and we're starting to come into, Friday and Monday, we had like double barrel close support at about 695. So we're starting to approach that bottom. A lot to be expected, mostly from the earnings last night, but I guess they don't, the revisions were small. They revised from 208 to 209. So the last revision was very, very slightly higher. So it kind of looks like the jobless claim should have been a nothing burger, but I guess we were already momentum down a little bit, so that's putting a little bit more pressure on the markets than we're already seeing.
Yeah, so not a great number there. I was actually just looking at the IGV because we talked about a little bit of service now there, talked about what's going on with some of the software names. And yeah, they did get a little bit of a bump up about a month and a half ago or so there into late May, early June, and then it's just been downside. And today was service now. With that report coming through, more downside action looks to be appropriate here for the IGV. And I don't know. Looking at the company, we had already mentioned Shreve sort of hinted on a few things there. I like to look at the 200 period, see if that winds up holding. But, it's like we're underneath VWAP. We're starting to go lower right now. This chart, this is not saving the day here at all with service now. It's now had 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess that's an update. I don't know why that's red. 5. Let's just call it like 6 or 7 of the last 8 days downside right there for service now, and not really even, it tried to regain the 50 period moving average, but I think this would be something that we'll look to short again here today. Good story, nice opportunity to maybe get short, and it looks like right now the short's trying to push a little bit here. So with the market coming down, obviously this is not coming down as much, but I don't know. I don't really love the space. A name like a Palantir in the software space is a little bit more exciting to me. Just because of the data and what that means for Palantir. They're actually up 1% today. So that's a nice story into a down drafting market right here. So, some of these names just continue to be a little bit of a work. I still like Microsoft. I want to buy this on any weakness as well. Google and Microsoft are the two names that are on my mind. And then we also got a couple downgrades over the last few days. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago on Salesforce, right? And they were kind of trying to cruise back up to the upside as well. And then they had a problem trying to break through the 200 period moving average. And we've seen IBM come, and there's so much to talk about today, but IBM did beat expectations a little bit, and we'll talk about those numbers. Didn't think it was as bad as maybe that earlier warning shot from last Thursday, I think, or maybe it was earlier than that, came through and brought this name all the way back into $200. We thought we saw a good bounce spot there of around 205 on the daily for where it is going to come all the way back here. It's from 24 once this loads up. But today now, even after their report, they're still hitting it. There it is right here underneath this 205. So it's looking like today is going to be a sell day. So for a name like ServiceNow, I would say that they're going to turn the programs on again and sell that name all the way down. So IBM down, Google probably getting lower as we speak right now. Well, not really, 324 and change. Tesla was already on a slide. We'll see if that's going lower. 345, that's at its low of the morning as well. Looks like it wants to break 345 right now. So as the market is pumping to the low side right here and getting down, we look over at maybe oil trying to go back higher. We talked about the Houthis and how President Trump's not too impressed and started going to hold everybody responsible. What the problem is not only, and I hate to say this because there's obviously a lot of Americans watching and this is going to be your war, but it's costing so much money to do what they've already done, and they're going to pay Iran hundreds of billions of dollars to rebuild the whole thing, which is going to help out their economy as well and give them jobs, et cetera, over there, which is it's going to be a good thing. If they want regime change and all that, is what they're going to have to look at. I don't even think they're talking about that anymore.
They usually get some U.S. companies contracted.
There's
benefits.
Yeah, there's benefits, but that's just U.S. companies. It's the U.S. government that's going to be, shelling out all of the money for everything that they've done so far, and then they're going to pay for the repair of it all as well. So this is getting more expensive, man. It's hurting the customers and, like myself and everybody that's, using electricity every single day, whether or not it's, gas or oil or whatever. All those costs are starting to go a little bit higher. And I just saw at the pump today, it's 181. We just talked about the benefits of owning a Tesla, not just full self-drive, but now you're paying 181 at the pump when it was 140 just a couple weeks ago. And, so it's starting to ramp up a little bit as summer travel gets in there again. So this is all costing a lot. And now you're looking at your brokerage account and it's costing you even more today. Bitcoin trying to break back below 65,000, the NASDAQ now down 1%, ES down 1%. And sure, we're close to all-time highs on many of these markets. But at the same time, it still hurts to look down and see this. So I don't really like all that negative talk here regarding Iran and what potentially is going to happen to the price of oil up here. But you know, it's just part of the battle that we're dealing with. You don't get great earnings today, then you get a news on this oil surge. So it's all kind of just a storm. And why I'm getting at all of this is I think it is a sell day. So you know, we'll look to see if we can get shorter on TQQs. And then yesterday we had another $5-6 winner there on SpaceX. We'll see if we can do something similar today, as you know, 105 possible, 110 break brings us into that 105 area. And if this gets real nasty, who knows what's going to happen with SpaceX. SpaceX is flat on the day, you know, with a market doing this. So if you want to talk about getting your teeth out for something, you know, yesterday it came real good for SpaceX. We were late to the party, man. We sat down late. And as soon as I sat down, it was like, okay, we're just going to short 119 break. And that, like, I would have been this, my theory would have been, I would have shorted this break right here if I was here. We wrote down 125 as a top yet. Like, look at this. This is like a roller coaster mountain you don't want to be on right here. So we're going to have to wait to see if that holds from yesterday. 114.50 right at the close. Looks like we're coming right into that one. So as SpaceX turns red here on the day, you know, there's not too much sort of green shoots out there in this market. So I think the short is going.
Well, you're not going to like where you find them. That's the problem.
You know, well, that's what I was saying. It was only in the energy space, which is costing everybody money at the pump, right? Unless you're a major shareholder of XOM, this is going to be a little bit of a problem, right? Which is why it's always important to diversify.
The best gap up on my quote board was SK Hynix. Look at it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was the stock. When I sat down in this seat, I just looked at my quote board and like, okay, well, what's the thing that's up? This was what was leading the way. And it's basically given up, not the whole move, but it has just been a straight shot selling. All that being said, we've sort of seen like we have, I don't want to call it doom and gloom because 1.3% down on the NASDAQ is not doom or gloom. Looking at the SPY right now, the S&P, what we are down, it's not even 1%, but it's obviously trend down. When we have this kind of a trend going into the open, oftentimes I feel like the first move is up. So in that particular case, like that's where it's like, if you're looking like short the pops, which oftentimes directionally, that's the way I want to look at it, you're finding those places and those levels. Like when I look back over at IBIT or Bitcoin, which is literally at 65.1 right now, so we're approaching the 65,000 level, you know, and yesterday, I like BMNR a little bit better, and I'll probably be looking at both of them, just establishing that once it pulled in a prior high and came back down, today that would be 37.3. The difference between the two was simply that, let me just go to BMNR, and then there it is. Don't want blue ocean. Although you can look at it in the aftermarket. The difference was when Bitcoin was making fresh highs, this was continuing lower. ETH was a little bit weaker, so it was just a different rollover trade. Just a little bit more weakness, and pulling back into prior close here would be about the 17.8. So, yeah, I think it'll be more of like a short the pop. In 45 minutes from now, we have plenty of time until we get to that open, everybody. So, you know, I don't want to call it, to me, a dead cat bounce, which I saw some people just say in the chat. Like, to me, a dead cat bounce oftentimes has a little bit more follow through, and you wouldn't want to be like fading right into it. And we're not down, like the market's not down enough to call it a dead cat bounce. Like pick up one of those small cappers, the one that had the offering yesterday and went from like $1 bajillion to $2. That bouncing is the definition of a dead cat bounce. Just to check in on some of those small cappers, one of them that we didn't get to from our super chat, and we appreciate the super chat, that ADVB, kind of Deadsville. I see that name up here a couple of times. What's interesting is even though the volume is not as good on this, it didn't fall apart. Like it actually, in the pre-market, it was flat, despite the fact that it got rugged 40% in the afternoon. It held high, now it's holding a bit of higher lows. So volume not great on this, but it's not dead. It's just WeBuy made the watch list because it was actually doing good relative volume. The day one play is sometimes a little sexier than day two. But I'm sure Sharif will have this one on the back burner, that ADVB, because it hasn't completely broken down yet, Sharif.
Let's have a look, Neil. Nice couple of names here on the small cap list. I'm looking at WBUY right now. This one is gapping up over 100% here to start the morning through the $1.50 level. We're looking, I believe, at a high of around 1 2/3. Volume weighted average price substantially below the current price action at around $1.20. I also like the stair-step nature of this one. Look at that pop up early on, 4:45, 5 a.m. into that 1 1/3. We decidedly take that out, but we had resistance there initially at 1 1/3 before the breakout. So WY definitely on my watch. How about LGCL? This one is failing, Neil. Volume weighted average price a little bit above $2. Current price action around 1 2/3. This one gapped up yesterday in the aftermarket around 5:30. A good continuation this morning at around 4, but it's been a sell basically the entire morning. Lower lows and lower highs. I wouldn't have anything to do with this one. We'll keep an eye here on HEHGO, gapping up 35%, but suffering from the same affliction that LGCL is suffering from, trading below the volume weighted average price at around 250. Those are the three that I keep my eye out on there. But there also is this JEM, another one that's failing here, kind of a Christmas tree retracement. Green on the left side, red on the right side. So we'll keep an eye on the small cap, see if anything's continuing. But right now it's just W buy. Let's move on though, change pace here, talk about something that's actually gapping up. Lockheed Martin, Sia, reporting raising guidance, and they're reinforcing the demand for the defense sector.
Absolutely. So the company's full year revenue guidance currently of $80.75 billion at the midpoint has come in 2% above analyst expectations, as its GAAP profit of $7.94 per share, Sharif, was 10.3% above analyst expectations and consensus estimates as well. Sales increase of 11% to $20.1 billion. Net earnings of $1.8 billion or $7.94 per share. Cash from operations of $3.2 billion and free cash flow of $2.9 billion. I'm not seeing a bad number here, Sharif, honestly.
No.
Record backlog, however, of $230 billion, inclusive of the multi-year contract to produce the THAAD, T-H-A-A-D interceptor. So what is that? It's a terminal high altitude area defense that Lockheed Martin also produces and also makes. So it's also updated its 2026 financial outlook as well.
And let's not forget about the munitions, right? I mean, a lot of munitions have been fired, of course, during this conflict with Iran, and now possibly the Houthis. All that has to be replenished. So we're going to be looking for more shorter dated revenue. You know, a lot of these contracts that they're making for newer aircraft and newer machines, we're looking at 2-3 year windows. I'd submit to you guys the munitions, probably a bit of a shorter turnaround here. So LMT, boys, up around 5.
You know, Lockheed has an interesting pattern, and it might not help anybody for a day trade. I'll be real with you. But when you look at it the longer term, it'll hang out for a while, show you these like consolidative levels on the weekly chart, and then just explode. Revert, consolidate, explode. It's now happened a couple of times in what's really like a gentle uptrend. Here, make sure the monthly, so you can get a bit of a better look at it here. Because on the monthly chart, you get a much better idea of what seems to be happening with it. It's the 50 period on the monthly that just seems to come in, hold, new high. Sometimes it takes a little bit, new high, but we've just made that pullback into that 50 on the monthly, and you're in that consolidative phase. So good news is, yeah, Lockheed Martin looks pretty good from here. Solid report, bounce off that, fantastic. The issue is the hold at the hold on a monthly chart, the hold on this 50 period is sometimes like half a year. So like and even longer than that. Like in the last particular case, it did nothing essentially from February to the end of the year. So yes, the pattern is fantastic. It's just the time that the stock sometimes takes to get back to the high can be a little bit longer on the time frame. But it does look very good from here. I love the backlog. Defense spending is going nowhere but up in the long term, if we're being honest about it. And with all, as she said, replenishing munitions, I think that's obviously a good short-term benefit for them. You just probably have to be very patient with this. It's one of the reasons why when I was looking at defense, when we did our recent picks, I liked GE Aerospace's chart a little bit better from where it was at. It was like a pulling back in a prior high, trying to hold that 50 period moving average on an upward trend, just a little bit more upside action, in particular on this one. But there's no hate on Lockheed Martin whatsoever.
All right. Yeah, I was going to look at a little bit of Boeing here. I think that Boeing's been getting hit to the downside here, and it hasn't been good, man. Breaking underneath the 200 period, moving average. So I don't know why my mind automatically goes to Boeing whenever we're talking about defense names, but I like Boeing down here. I think there is something about the whole China relationship that hasn't really looked to do well over the last month or so. Even since when they visited China and they didn't get any deals done back here in May, Boeing's been on the downside, in the downswing here. President Trump seems to not really talking about China anymore. I would love to get some Boeing down into this 190, 195 area. This is something that I like, sort of the aspect of defense software as well. And Boeing does have, they have that heartbeat software where they're able to find, I think it was the pilot there that was shot down, and they had to go find him in the mountains or whatever it was, and they're able to find out heartbeats without disclosing their own. And that's a Boeing software. So, I just think as we talk about the ramp up here of potentially boots on the ground, if I don't think that would happen, but if Iran does get a little more escalated there, I think Boeing and some of the software that they have will be in look. So I like Boeing down there, down now 1%. It's just the market's still going. So I think that today, the sticky note will be on in momentarily. I'm just adding some emojis and whatnot to it. But I think that this Boeing is a downside play for now, but I want to buy some dips in BA. I think just to diversify a little bit away from the traditional technology and defense names. Boeing on, better oil prices eventually. Like, you're getting this on sale because of what's been happening right now, right? And so I think with better oil prices, a better pickup in travel, planes need to continuously be bought here. And as this world continues to, technologically advance, I think Boeing is a winner in that space. So, let's go back over. It looks like Joe's ready to go with upgrades and downgrades. It'd be a complete fluke if Boeing's on there, but let's go find out and see what's going on.
High odds on that one, Katina, man. Boeing will not be on the list today. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off. A lot of names that reported last night after the bell and before the market open. Let's take a look at a name, the ever so popular Tesla, at the top of our downgrade list, but still holding an overweight rating. We're just going to focus on this price target reduction here, guys. $485 by Cantor Fitzgerald. That's down from $510. Now, ServiceNow, a name that is up 6% here this morning with a neutral weight rating, but we're going to reduce that price target a little bit here, guys. $110, that's down from $115 by UBS. Now, Norwegian Cruise Lines getting the downgrade as well, too, guys. We're down 3.5% this morning, going from a buy to a hold, and with a $20 price target. Now, IBM, another name, holding the buy rating. But what we want to focus on is some of these price cuts, guys. 335 to 270 here. Goldman Sachs giving them that downgrade here this morning. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at some more positive things. Alphabet at the top of our list. Even though we are negative here this morning, down 4.7%, we're going to hold that buy rating, guys, and a price target of $450. Now, Canaccord Genuity giving them the nod. AT&T also on the list here today, guys. We're up about 0.8%. Overweight rating. We're going to increase our price target to $27. That is up from $25. Now, PayPal also getting the nod, going from an equal weight to an overweight, but we're going to reduce our price target a little bit here, and it's down substantially from what we're actually currently trading at, which I find slightly odd, but anyways, $24 to $23. We're still getting the upgrade to overweight by Morgan Stanley. Now, another name that reported after the bell yesterday, Texas Instruments, down 4%. We're going to have a hold rating on this, guys, but we're going to increase our price target to $300. That is up from $278. Now, it's a mixed bag this morning. Let's see what's moving after the open. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you, Joe. At least, look, I mean, we said Google's quarter was pretty solid to get an upgrade. The downgrades probably make a little bit of sense, but just one note on that PayPal. Worth remembering, they did get this offer, which for them right now is not something that has been accepted. So $60.50 may or may not happen for this deal again, but it does put an interesting potential floor on it. It's been fading off that day one high ever since. Like, the high that it made on day one is still the high now. On day two, it tried to get past there and break 58, just couldn't do it. But the lows, when we're like, it's probably going to be some profit takers because it's not a firm deal. That bottom got put in at about $53, and then a higher low at $54.7. this is the kind of name. If things get really weak today, and this stock blows through here to get down to that 53, very intriguing, because remember, they've got this potential deal underneath at $60. So if it were to flash down, I like it for a shot to look for some buyers down at 53. Now, is it a long shot it gets down there? Yeah, of course it is. But the market's already down a point and a third on the NASDAQ, and the ES trying to follow suit. So if you do get enough selling, in the back of my mind, I will remember, hey, PayPal's going to have a little bit of an artificial floor that it might be able to find more readily than some other names, which will just follow the market a little bit more closely. So this will be on the back burner for me if we get some kind of 2.5% down day, if it gets really bad.
Yeah, I was just looking. It was interesting to see that Google did catch a little bit of an upgrade over there. And you just mentioned a little bit about PayPal. We've seen what can go wrong. And I don't know if it's going to go wrong or not. I mean, I know you talked about this, and I do think that, once the deal's done, you're going to get it going, and so it's fine. But this is just, as we just looked at that, hopefully Stripe and Advent can take it over. But there's another example where you may want to pick up some Warner Brothers down here because of how far it is right now. As we talked about, there's some issues with Paramount and Warner Brothers, and of course, will this deal go through? Will it won't? But there's another opportunity.
They got EU approval this week on that deal, and they're still selling off, because the concern right now is there's a political battle happening in the U.S. to block the deal. Exactly. And it is, I hate to get it is flat out Democrats versus Republicans with that deal.
Wow, that's a surprise, actually.
It is who controls the major media.
But that's why you made it as a pick of yours, right? Is that you thought?
Because I think it's a fugazi. If you all the same arguments that you're hearing right now against the Warner Brother Paramount Skydance deal, the other side would be saying the same things if it had been Netflix. Because Netflix is seen as left and Paramount is seen as right, and Warner Brothers is has a major media outlet, and then one of those swings one way or the other. And to me, that's what's at stake, and I still think that's the kind of fugazi gets a chance to get that deal to go through. But either way, it's still going down.
Yeah, I was just bringing it up because you were talking about the PayPal, because there's that deal of speculation. Yeah. Warner Brothers is actually done. They're just trying to figure out if they're going to allow it to go through or not. Yeah, just interesting that Google caught that upgrade as well. I was wondering about Uber versus Lyft. I mean, Uber is starting to break lower again. It's up 1%, so that's fine right now. But Uber did not keep and hold anything up here whatsoever. It had some nice jaunts up there. We did get the Nancy. I mean, this is the stupidest. The fact that I wasn't sitting there at $80 when all I was doing was talking about getting out at 80 on this Nancy Pelosi breakthrough there was crazy. But, at least we're able to, understand that we messed that up. And damn it, now we have to wait to see what happens here with Uber. Looks like it's going to have a pretty good breakdown there. So this is what Uber looks like. And then, we can all say, we would like Uber better than maybe Lyft. But the charts might be up with something else on that one right there. Lyft right now, you can see still, and this is why I wanted to talk about it, because of this most recent move down. But Lyft is, still a few dollars away from that breaking spot. If we think this business is somewhat viable, and that is, of course, the robo-taxi issue that we're going to have, Waymo, all this kind of stuff. Lyft has just had a pretty nice move back in from the 200 period. Generally speaking, when you're going to hit a 200 period moving average like that, come back into the 50. Now we're going to wait to see if that can hold. If you give this 1 or 2 days and it winds up holding, then we probably do retest back up here again into $16. So for going from 14 or so, 14.50 up to 16 is already better than any move I can see on Uber. And then that break after that, if Uber can continue to work, if it does, then, Lyft does have a little bit more of a runway, in my opinion, to get back to somewhere like an 18 or 19 area where it probably gets hit again. So just looking at something there, Lyft maybe a little bit of a better idea than Uber right now, just on a chart basis. We'll wait to see if it winds up holding the 50 period moving average. All right, it's 8:58. We've done pretty good here for the last hour. We got Sia here. Adara's enjoying the day off. The Nasdaq's trying to get to the lows of the day there. And I just added SpaceX to the sticky note. So, we'll see if this can happen. I'm writing down 118 here as a possible short for SpaceX. So we'll see if it gets a little bit back up to the upside there with a couple percentage points, and then we'll be able to short it. We waited all day for this and then wasn't even here when 125 hit. And then we came in and shorted 119 yesterday, which obviously paid out because we got to the lowest it ever had gotten to at the close there yesterday. So we'll see if SpaceX has that liftoff today, because it's actually up in a market that's been bleeding all day. So very, very interesting to see if maybe SpaceX, and maybe it's a long, well, we keep saying the word maybe every time because I don't know what it's going to do. But 1450 is a spot that I think we can smash City again if we start breaking down below 1450. That could be a smash one more time for everyone's best friend, Elon Musk, and another fledgling company, apparently,
Allegedly.
with SpaceX. I mean, we're going to find out in just a matter of, I think it's 11 trading days or whatever, what the SpaceX earnings look like, which there will be none. I shouldn't say earnings.
What they don't look
what
like.
What the SpaceX quarter looks like, and what the talk is about selling real estate on Mars and mining of asteroids. And of course, putting which once thought impossible, data centers in space. So we'll see how that is going, and we will then assess what the stock of SpaceX does that day and the days after, as lockup is looming on SPCX.
But keep in mind, it's been so bad that the lockup might not be as big of a deal as we are thinking.
It won't be. No, nobody's gonna. There'll be some that will sell, but I think most.
It'll be so far down that it's like, not as big of a deal. But don't worry, everybody.
We'll see.
Because as we get into our free watch list, worth noting that Nokia has at least gone green. So here is Nokia to save the day. This seemed like a nothing burger. It wasn't really moving enough to make the watch list, but they are moving after their report, and at least positive. There's not going to be a lot of things that are going to be positive. You're going to see. We're going to go into the rundown, toggle futures, and go into the rundown now. It'll feel a little bit negative, but there's always something which is moving to the upside. So you can find something out there if you want. Let's go up to the desk, get into that free rundown, everybody.
Always something, Neil, moving to the upside. Sadly, this morning, it is certainly not the SPY. Down here at 0.92%. We closed out yesterday at 747.5. We are markedly below that right now. We're at 740.5. So we're barely holding on to that key area of technical support that we have been talking about now for a period of weeks. 740 about to get breached, guys. We're looking for that level first and foremost as support. If that doesn't hold, we are looking at that 735 area. We haven't been there since, I want to say, the late part of June. So 740, support level 1, 735, support level 2. If we catch a bid, we're just looking at yesterday's closing print, 747.5, Sia, as resistance.
Absolutely. And here's what I want to remind you guys. Make sure to get the free watch list every morning. Comes straight to your inbox and helps you prepare for your day. It has the big market movers, earning reports of what we're watching right into the open. Guess what? We also make sure it comes right into your inbox every single morning. Link is in description. Do not forget. And now we're going to send it to Sharif, but we're going to take a look at the first ticker we're going to discuss. What is it, Sharif?
Tesla. Wow, what an earnings report yesterday, guys. Let's just get to some of these numbers. He'll dig in to the nitty-gritty here. But we had adjusted EPS markedly missing expectations despite that top-line revenue number, Sia, easily beating estimates.
100%. There is a lot to go over here, Sharif. And everyone, please bear with me because we're going to dive right into this. So adjusted EPS has come in at 33 cents versus a 51 cents expected. There was we did not get expectations over there. Revenue risen 26% year over year to $28.24 billion, ahead of estimates, looking not that bad in revenue here. But automotive revenue has increased 23% to $20.5 billion. Now the catch here is, although it has increased, the average selling price, that is the ASP per vehicle, has dropped around $1,300 sequentially to $42,000. Now, energy revenue has climbed 13% to $3.14 billion. Automotive gross margin fell to 16.8% from 17.2% last year, below 19.4% that was expected, and lower vehicle pricing and reduced regulatory credits as well. So Tesla has seen operating expenses jump around 47% as their spending accelerated on AI infrastructure. Also, we know it, Optimus humanoid robots as well, Cybercab production, and the semiconductor development here. But this is one thing I do have to mention. This is the first negative free cash flow in over 2 years that the company has seen. Revenue jump has dominated the headlines, yes, but Tesla has reported a negative free cash flow of $1.09 billion. That is a big number over there. Capital expenditures more than doubled year over year to $5.79 billion. Management has aggressively funded AI compute. Semiconductor capacity also up to scale and trade.
All right, guys. So as Sia mentioned, negative free cash flow for the first time in a while. We all know why that's happening. Of course, they are retooling some of the the gigafactories that they have for Optimus for some new products. What are your thoughts? Looks like we're at the low of the day right now for Tesla.
Yep, we're at the low of the day right now. Spending is going up and margins are going down, and that is bad. And I don't think you need any kind of a degree to understand that concept. It gives us another metric to look at, because I think now in future reports, you're going to want to see the leveling off. Maybe not margins getting back to the upside. It'll be more about when you just see enough of a deceleration or a stabilization of margins. Like if margins just stabilize, that might actually be enough to look better in the upcoming quarters. We'll see. That's for the future. For today, you're falling away from any significant levels. You guys can obviously see since we got the jobs report, the market's been falling. There isn't even a single green candle, a bad wick here, but not a single green candle since after 7 a.m. The gap fill is gone. You're not seeing 363. That's probably not going to happen again. So I wrote down VWAP and then the 50, of course, and the pre-market highs, which is 53. So a continuation play probably has to withstand some kind of a bounce at the open. When you're down 8% on a major tech name like this, oftentimes I would expect there to be some shorts that are going to want to cover, a little bit of buy exuberance for those that are buying the dip, and then taking that into underneath the 350 level. And if that busts out, there's basically the pre-market highs after that, and then the actual gap fill, which that's realistic at when you sit down at 7 o'clock, the gap fill is only $10 higher. That last level is probably insignificant here today. But I am looking for the pop and fade here on Tesla. It goes SSR at $337 for what it's worth. It'll be 10% down at that point, and I still think it has a very good chance to get there.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the SSR play. I think is one that could happen there today. I mean, this has just gotten hit. Last 5 minutes has not been a good 5 minutes. The market also coming to the downside. So yeah, I think you are going to get SSR just even right off the open. And honestly, other than the pop and fade, I think you can go short right now. You're about to break this 340. I would say today. I mean, that's even these little low wicks right into there is 337. That's going to be the bouncing spot that we were sort of looking at there on an SSR. I think it's 336.50, whatever it's going to be. So there's an area there that you can look at. I think it's smart to wait for that to happen. And then even if you punch short at 9.5%, thinking that it's going to get to 10, and then once it gets to 10, sometimes there's a bounce and sometimes there's not at all. It keeps on going. So right there today, I think there's a lot of people that are not fans of Elon Musk right now, especially with the most recent move there in SpaceX. And now we're starting to get to the downside. And, Tesla's trying to sell some compute power. There's a whole bunch of competition in many of the different businesses now that Tesla's looking at. And I don't think we got a good look with Robotaxi there yesterday as well. So there's some downside play coming for Tesla. And I think it's a short. It's just a matter of where. So yeah, wait for pops. And whenever there's a gap, we always say you play to VWAP. And right now that's 348. So I think if a $5 move higher happens here on Tesla, it's something you want to be a part of. We had seen, of course, Rivian make moves into $20. That's now back down to 17, and you can see they're starting to get a little hit here in the pre-market as well. This name might be one that you want to take out as well right now to the downside for Rivian, breaking through the 1650 area right there. That's another possible breakdown for RIVN. I mean, things aren't going well, and we'll just wait to see where it goes from here. But it's not necessarily a car issue. I mean, we saw revenues were much higher there as well. But I think as margins start to collapse a little bit there and compress, you're going to see some issues in this space. We got a good report from GM at least this week as well. Yeah, world's burning. Is it? Bees are dying. Yeah. People sicker than ever. Not than ever. We can go back and find out.
That's not true.
Yeah, there's as percentage of the world's population might be the healthiest it's ever been. Yeah. Air toxic. Yes. I mean, we just did have those.
I mean, they're not going
But that forest fire stuff figured itself out. I mean, it seems pretty good. Water drying up, yeah. I mean, that's right. Adam James abroad. I mean, with more data centers going in there. Sicker, it says. Sicker. Plastic. Joe's saying safer, right? Plastic pollution, yeah. I mean, I think that we're getting a little bit better on that. I mean, those oceans back in the 80s and 90s were littered and still are parts of them with plastic bottles. I think we're getting better at that. People bombed all day. Yeah, I mean, that's not changed since I've been born. But data centers are in space, yes.
We could look at it the other way too, Adam.
Thank you so much for SpaceX.
Look at the power you have in your pocket with an AI assistant, the ability for your car to come pick you up. There's a lot of positives as well. You've eliminated so many major diseases, breakthroughs at the wazoo in the biopharma space. So, let's be real. This is the best time. I'm not one of those doom and gloom, man. We should be celebrating how good we have it and our kids have it. Always look at that. Tisha Perkins. Oh, I thought you were going to mention this one. Thank you for the super chat. I thought you were talking about ZCMD, but no, it's EHGO. Room to 357, then 517, tons of volume. Neil and Sean. So yeah, I'm sure Sharif has that one on the radar. I was actually, for some reason, I thought I saw in the chat that there you were posting about this other Chinese one, which is going. They're raising $5 million through a registered direct offering, and this is not usually the response that you see. It dipped and then started squeezing. So it dipped from $2.50 down to $1.50 and then did an Uno reverse and is now at $4. So it's, obviously this was yesterday's hot story, gapping and, halting, I don't know, half a dozen times on the way up, giving almost the entire move back. And then now when you get the report of the offering, it does the old false break of the low. So maybe some shorts just got trapped in this one. So yeah, small cappers abound, and maybe a lot of times we say there's always something going up. Often when the market is this bad, if you're a long-only trader, whip out some of the small cappers that might be going, because they might be the ones that are holding any kind of an uptrend for you. Unless you got some kind of an inverse ETF. And a lot of that's going to be determined by how the next name does.
Neil, there was a massive revenue number there, $119.8 billion in revenue, but there's also massive anxiety over the surging AI capital expenditures that Google is projecting for this year.
Absolutely. So demand is exceptionally strong. You are right about that. But investors are quickly questioning, increasingly concerned, and rightfully so, about how quickly these enormous AI investments will be generating returns. But it has delivered, I would say, a blowout quarter. Expectations have been beat on EPS as well as cloud growth. Revenues climbed 24%, like you just mentioned, to $119.8 billion. EPS has reached $9.11 versus $2.88. We mentioned this earlier. Now, there is a catch to this. Nearly $98 billion in unrealized markup on Alphabet's stake in AI startup Anthropic was recorded under its other income and artificially inflating GAAP earnings per share that is far beyond its core operating performance. Now, that is also important to know because that was not the original number. Anthropic's investment is one of the biggest reasons that the EPS number has shot up to $9.11. But concern also coming in from capital allocation here as well. Alphabet has spent $44.9 billion on CapEx during the quarter, also raised its full 2026 capital expenditure CapEx guidance to the range of $195 to $205 billion here, Sharif.
Yeah, driven by heavy land acquisitions here. They got to buy the land to build out the data centers. They can't float them in space quite yet. Yes. Custom TPU silicon commitments. Of course, we know Alphabet's thrown their hat into the A6 ring, as well as data center power, guys. That one of the biggest bottlenecks in the game right now. Also, we really need to pound the table on the 82% growth in Google Cloud, one of the highest margin businesses.
Yeah, so look, they still have the growth to make this work for them. Like, this is not a Tesla story where, oh yeah, it's always been a rough valuation and there's not enough there for them to get away with the extra spending and the margin decline. Like you're talking about, it was from quarter to quarter, went from 17 to 23% growth in cloud, year over year 82%. It's still almost 120 billion to mitigate some of that CapEx spend. But hey, the ball's not lying in this particular case. You're down 5%, the market's down, it's looking relatively weak. I'm going to leave this up. I like 30. We'd all like 30. I like the 300 level on this sucker. But even just on a shorter time frame, there's also this gap break in here to about 310. So those are the two places I'm looking for a bounce. But the channel level 290 to 300, like that's where I want to stink bid, because I left this one up from the break that it had months ago, or I guess this was like last year. So forget about months ago. It's literally last year, and I still think that's going to be the support on the way back in. Google, I like them. I think this is the one that you want to dip by, not Tesla.
Yeah, I want to say a big shout out to Zen Zombie here, member for 5 months. We say thank you so much for that. That is awesome. Right there. You've had a call yesterday morning on the VIX. Well, hey man, I mean that call is now $3 in the money. You may want to check that. It's probably up even a little bit more since the last time that you super chatted or you became a member there. So thank you so much for being that member for those 5 months. And of course, you'll get Sharice's Morning Note, which is available today with more, key levels and more talk about some of these names. But yeah, I would. The only thing I'm saying here is that you've now broken back below the 200 period. I am going to be taking some shares here today, some more, adding it into the account. I do think that, you've had a beautiful move from 380, like down to 320. That's $60. So, if we can get $60 better per share, everybody loved Google up here. So it's down here now, and not much has changed. I don't think that quarter gave us too much to worry about there. But as we just went through some of the numbers, you can judge it for yourself. I mean, the last time Google was in and around that 200 period moving average, we were all the way down here, and everybody was wondering and debating life choices back in April of 2025 when we had the tariff problem. And then now that seems like so far in the past, and we took that out and we bounced off of it a little bit right there, 273. And we know that Google does these moves on earnings. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to pick something up right now. And why not do that? I mean, I don't ever say like, I'm adding 10% to my position or anything. I got some money lying around there. I'm not even sure how many Google shares I own, but I'm planning to buy more right here at 320. So it's in there. I'd probably get filled right off the open. I like the stock. I think it's well worth an investment here for myself at these levels. So I'm going to put some money to work on Google. It's the same reason why, yesterday or a couple of days ago, we sold some AMD in and around average price about 520. We talked about that. And that's going to be not a great decision because AMD is still high. So I've given up money there, but now I've been able to hopefully buy a name that I think has more longevity and more, upside potential in a name like Google down here at the 200 period moving average. So that's why we do those things. And we're just hearing that oil, of course, is getting higher as well. $2 from, is that the Sasquatch? Oh no, the SQA analyst. Reddit oddly gapping up. Yeah, I mean, is it odd? I just, that story is from the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily.
It was unconfirmed.
Yeah, it's not necessarily true. I mean, whenever there's smoke, there is some kind of fire. But at the end of the day, we talked about this yesterday. This is the 50 period moving average that's really held. I like Reddit. I think that they can. It's just kind of like when everybody thought Google was dead down there at 160 because, oh my God, what are they going to do without their search business anymore? Well, they showed you what they were going to do. They almost tripled their stock value from that. Not almost tripled. They went up double, plus maybe 20% from that level. So, right now, I think Reddit can get it figured out if they wind up losing some business because they can't show their Reddit pages and it all gets sent out through the LLM. I'm sure something can get figured out. I mean, Reddit is such a scanned service by XAI, by Anthropic. Everybody's using Reddit and they're allowing it to happen. So I think they can figure it out. Either they charge a little bit more for that data that can offset some of the search business that they have there. I still like Reddit, and it is odd. I mean, I think the only thing that I think is right about your statement is that it's odd that it's up 2.5%. Like you would think in a market that's moving down, a name like Reddit would also move down. So that gives me more reason to think that there is an upside play there in Reddit. So yeah, keep my eyes on Rocket Lab. Hilarious. For what? For more downside? I mean, Rocket Lab has been absolutely pumped. And even right now, I'm getting ready to hit the short on SpaceX right off the open. And Rocket Lab has just been another one of those stocks that has literally been taken to the woodshed. I mean, it almost looks, exactly like SpaceX, where we pumped up there and then it was like all the way to the downside. So it's like, everybody is so super smart when stocks are going up. It's when you hold it all the way back down in. This is when you need to make decisions. right here. Do you like Rocket Lab enough at these levels? I still think I'd rather buy it above the 80, above $80 in the 200 period moving average. I don't know enough about the business model here to say if it's going to be something that's a success. I don't own anything in the space other than SpaceX, and that has been a unsuccessful launch in my account.
Certainly.
So we'll wait to see. SpaceX, I think we'll buy some more at 100, and then I'll have questions in my life about when to do when it's at 80, and then maybe we'll figure it out after that. So I don't know.
We'll wait for earnings.
We'll see what happens
For me, but the problem is it's probably going to get to the 100 before the earnings.
Oh, I'm buying at 100. It doesn't matter about earnings. I'm just, earnings aren't going to mean anything to the stock. I don't.
But that's when the lockup timer starts.
Yeah.
Ticker, timer, whatever you want to call it. But someone that's on the clock right now, because they're at a do or die level, is IBM.
Yeah,
A segue, Neil. Do or die. It's like, oh my goodness, I better get this right, guys. Revised 4 to 5 year % full year revenue growth target. We could talk about that. We could also talk about the late quarter shift in client spending towards hardware, which hurt some of their most important businesses, whether you're looking at the Z mainframe or you're looking at their transaction processing software revenue. There's so many angles we can take here.
Definitely so many angles you can take here. So it has beat second quarter estimates, but also lowered its near-term AI infrastructure growth. Shares, as you do know, were trading a bit sharply lower, I would say, after the earnings. Revenue has risen 8% to $17.6 billion. Adjusted EPS coming in at $3.51. Both of them being ahead of Wall Street expectations. But disappointment mainly in this earnings report has centered around AI, and AI particularly. Management has also reiterated and has also said that AI infrastructure revenue growth will be lower than previously forecasted because clients are taking longer, Sharif, to deploy these large-scale AI systems that we're seeing here. Software revenue has risen 10% to $7.4 billion. Red Hat grown over 17% and data over 11%. But here's a couple things we're taking a look at. Despite cutting this full year revenue growth expectations, IBM has reaffirmed its full year free cash flow growth target of $1 billion year over year. And we had IBM also deploying $10.5 billion towards acquisitions the first 6 months of the year. That is reducing its cash reserves to $8.2 billion. Now, this is down $6.3 billion. It is a big number, yes, since year end of 2025, which is pushing the total debt up to, it is a big number, $62 billion.
Yeah.
So that is not a great look over there. But finally, distributed infrastructure in power and storage has surged a record of 37% in the report, leaving an exit backlog of nearly $500 million, Sharif.
Now, well, IBM, absolutely. IBM did kind of brunt some of the impact of this earnings report when they released their pre-earnings, which kind of sent the stock down 25%, the worst day it's had in 1987. Do we have a bounce here potential, guys?
Well, okay, so it wasn't worse than, it didn't come out as worse than what they sort of braced us for, is what I'm looking for. You still got some revenue growth. You said the backlog looking pretty good. The cash flow looks still pretty solid, but it's hard to get past what was said in the letter from the CEO, where he basically told you that it's going to be rough in the short term because our clients are spending elsewhere. So it is already, this is a monthly chart, and we talked about this last week. On a monthly chart, I care what happens at the end of the month. We have about a week to go. So even if it loses $200, which it really looks like it's going to lose $200 at the open, it's at 201 right now, you could still break under, put in a bottoming tail, and show some kind of a hold, like something that looks a little bit like this on the monthly. And then you are bouncing off the most significant level that it's got. 200 was resistance all the way back in 2013, and now it's the 50 period as well. So suffice to say, this monthly candle needs to wick this level and hold. Otherwise, technically, something is a little bit broken for IBM. So that's what I want to see come the first of next month. If it has, then I think you're getting a good buy. And I think the other thing to look for is, remember, this is a good future quantum play. You're just going to have to wait out a little bit of this mess. If you believe in it for potential quantum breakthrough, which is in my estimation, a better bet than at least like, I don't know, insert other quantum name like Rigetti, whichever one you want to choose at the moment, whichever is the flavor of the moment. I think this is still going to be a better play, but it might look a little bit ugly for the next couple of quarters before you get that turn. But I'm going to be DCing into this because I want it for the quantum, but I'm going to wait until the first of the month, or at least the beginning of next month, see how this candle works out.
Yeah, the best quantum name, of course, in my opinion, would be Google. Yes. Yeah. And one name, and then, hey, man, maybe we'll get another false bump up in Meta. Maybe they're getting involved in quantum as well. Down another 3% here today, and it just keeps on getting crushed. Like, hey, we're selling compute power. We have a subscription business. We have all of that. That's a nice story. As you come right back into $600 now, and I just looked over and I was like, shit, man, that was an easy out up here. Like, darn. We actually talked about trying to get out of some Meta, and we had a perfect opportunity to do that. And we had Steve Tileman on. He absolutely loved this name at 630 right there. So yeah, Meta definitely in problem there. Look, David, I think you might be right on this one. Sometimes when there's so much negativity, you are due for a little bit of a bounce. And I do think in the first half hour or however period it is, you are going to get some sells because the market is heading lower. You know, Google, Tesla, some of these names, IBM, like they're breaking key levels. And I think, you know, the teeth will be out early for some of this. And I think once cooler heads prevail, you know, you could get another upside move here. I mean, I don't want to throw Meta out with the bathwater here. It's just we have to wait for their quarter as well. I mean, all of these names are coming next week, including, you know, all of the Mag 7 names out there. Looks like Microsoft only down 0.6 right now. That should be a good one for a Mag 7 name. And I don't think Apple is really at risk of any of the things that we've been talking about here today, but they will also follow the market. And by the way, we were waiting for I wrote down 1450 there for SpaceX. It just bounced so good off that 1450. And there's a bounce upside because why, David, and everybody else out there? We just had the imbalances come through. So there's SpaceX with a small buy. That's not going to last. And there's Tesla with a small buy.
Those are tiny.
That might not last. And these are things that you're seeing that you just mentioned there, David. So maybe we do get a couple bids here to start the day. I have IBIT written down. IBIT was one of the best trades yesterday. We had that short up there, and it was at 37.50, and that was a good move to the downside. We'll see if we can do something similar with IBIT right now. Speak about now. We have Service Now that's on the radar today as well. We'll see if they can break through $100 and continue their downside move. It's Service Now back at the desk.
Looking a little bit better for Service Now. We'll see if they can kind of break the downtrend that they've been on for a little while. $29 billion in RPO, remaining performance obligations. Their subscription revenue beats ya, and they've got some good U.S. government contracts keeping them afloat.
100%, but we're also going to take a deeper dive into other numbers and a rundown about what's going on with the earnings report as well. So total revenues has hit $3.987 to be precise billion dollars, which is a 24% year-over-year increase that the company is seeing. You have subscription revenue reaching 3.877, almost 3.88 billion dollars. That's up 24.5% year-over-year. Profitability, adjusted operating margin has landed at an impressive 29.5%. Backlog, however, current remaining performance obligations, that's CPROs, have grown 21% year-over-year to $13.2 billion. Now the guidance. Management has raised the full year guidance for the year 2026 subscription revenue midpoint to approximately $15.77 billion, which is representing a 21% year-over-year growth. Now, also something to quickly remember is that closing these large enterprise software sales largely depends on whether the vendor or partner can provide these kind of crowd credits. Now, ServiceNow, NOW, has officially crossed $1 billion in total AWS marketplace, Sharif, all the transactions during the quarter. Non-GAAP net income, however, has also reached $930 million. You have GAAP net income dropping $35 sequentially to a number $298 million. Finally, you have heavy stock-based compensation and acquisition-related reasons that are also accounting for a massive $632 million bridge between this GAAP and non-GAAP accountability.
Absolutely. And you know what was kind of eye-opening here? You didn't really see too much commentary on the call with respect to demand destruction. We saw that with IBM. They said, look, they're coming after our software business, our high-margin business, and they're spending on hard goods, RAM, storage, servers. You didn't see that here, guys, with ServiceNow.
Lifting the IGV positive here. Only 0.8%, but that's because, there's some names in IGV that are not going to be good. Looking at you, Microsoft. No, ServiceNow, here's the thing. I hate to pour cold water on it because that was good. Expanding margins as opposed to contracting, which we've been seeing a lot of this morning, that's great. But if you look at where we bounced to, yes, it's up 5%, but this needs to at least show some pep in its step at or above 105. Otherwise, you just went to where we died yesterday and then found a right-hand turn. Like, you've got to start pressing in like the 103 to 105 range, and then you can look for continuation. The downtrend, not split adjusted, let me zoom in quickly here. The downtrend is slightly broken on the much shorter time frames with some higher lows, but see that 105, that's also the 50-period moving average. So that's the spot that they need to get to post-earnings to get a nice little relief rally for them. They're still a ways away from it this morning and already reversed off it once earlier. Chain reactor, thank you for the super chat there, Chain reactor. Hopefully we don't have too much of a chain reaction blowing up too many stocks this morning. I think the stocks to watch this week are definitely going to be picks and shovel stocks. Everything is gradually shifting towards quantum. I've got the tickers ready to go. Throw them in the chat if you've got something that's interesting for you, and if you do, make sure you include the $ so we can throw them on well, we don't put them there. They automatically go here. SpaceX, number one. Tesla, we buy. That is the small capper that was running this morning. And as we get right into it, it's the earnings opening bell brought to you by VFS. We're going to get intel tonight, but we already got the big ones, and the market doesn't like it one bit.
All right, here we go, man. Google, we said we look at 320. We don't necessarily want to sit at 320, but here comes 320. Right now, that low just touched out at 320.20 with a little bit of a bounce happening now in Google, just up $1 from the lows. But again, this is opening trade. Let things settle down, especially if you're looking at the earnings plays. And Google, of course, one of those names. We'll see if IBM has taken down 200 yet. That's incoming literally right now of a $200 take, and that looks like that will hit right here. And there it goes down immediately 50 cents on IBM as that name getting rocked right now. But you can see the spread is a little bit spready, to say the least, right there. So IBM, nice downside move there. And here comes SpaceX. We'll try to get short. Tesla was another one there to look at, but I'm looking at 1450 here on SpaceX. And I don't want to be in this name for long. If it's wrong, it's wrong. We've seen SpaceX get going, especially on, again, key level breaks. So we'll wait to see if this happens. Maybe we'll get out at 116 if it breaks there. But right here, we're looking to go short right now on SpaceX. And then to what you said, Tesla, Neil, almost at that bouncing spot. 9.8, 9.10. It's going to be down 10% in a matter of minutes. So here we go. There it is. So there's your SSR level. We'll see if there's a bounce possible here in Tesla.
Yeah, well, it needs to show an even dollar level that it can go and then do that flashback. Well, there was one name, and it's related to Tesla that I didn't talk about. It was yesterday in the afternoon. And lunchtime, we were fading on Lucid. It absolutely died all day long. I want to short pops in Lucid. I'm looking at the $7 level, but it's not really moving much. IBIT is bouncing, so if you're looking for something that was pop and fade. Oh, was that short Fugaze? Oh, never mind.
No, it looks like he probably is.
Well, okay, it bounced a little bit. Not much. But VWAP sits here at 36.93. Whatever. I looked up and it looked a little bit better compared to some of the other things, but it's not bouncing much at all here on IBIT. But looking for that fade up. Around VWAP first, there's also the 37 where things broke down. Remember at 8:30, the market took another leg down on the jobs report, initial jobless claims. So that's a good level to watch as well. 37 we'll look for. Lucid again, not really doing much of anything whatsoever. And I don't think we covered what was going on at the open in Alphabet. It is also catching a bid. But a couple of dollars here off the bottoms in Google, and it's not even back to where we were like 10 minutes ago. Right? Like, it's just, we're still very much downward trending. But the market is trying to make a bit of a jaunt upside. So I don't want to be too early trying to short.
Yeah, we're almost at 1450 right now. This is the day's low. I think I only crossed to maybe 30s. I'm not even sure what I crossed to right there. But we'll see if we get a break happening on Spaces. I'll probably miss it, but I do expect that there will be some back and forth plays with that one. And I told you guys about ServiceNow that this was not one to be trusted. And it's going to go red right now. So there it goes, man. when we threw it back to see, I was like, just get ready for that $100 break. That came pretty quick there, down through $100, down into 95. Right there goes ServiceNow. We may be wrong on that SpaceX. I mean, it just bounced again off of 114.50. So we'll have to wait to see. Meta down 3% as well. Microsoft down. Here comes SpaceX one more time. Tesla, obviously on earnings. That's what everyone's looking for. And there's that bounce that literally we mentioned off 10%. So, we should be long down there at 336. That would have been a nice $3 right there off the bid now for Tesla. So, boo-hoo boo on that one, missing that move on, again, a level that we talked about. So it's kind of crazy that we don't have that one. We could check out, I mean, Vernova has been getting hit over the last little while. Pretty good. They're down 10% on their earnings, and we'll see what they're doing today. But RIVN right now, nice move up from 40 to 42. I don't know, give it a little bit of a shakeout there, see what's going on with RIVN. And then, of course, the name that many of you are probably worried or wondering about anyways was Google. And we marked down on our sheet 320. But again, don't want to take something too early. So Google, we wait and see what's going on. SpaceX pushing higher, Google pushing higher, Tesla pushing higher. Looks like, Dave, there, you were right about a potential move higher there through the day. You mentioned that it might be a wipeout. That looks like that was what happened. And now we'll wait to see if some of these stocks can find a footing. It looks like Google might have done that, and maybe Tesla as well over there at 336. So still early days.
Memory names as well. DRAM has bounced about 1% to the upside, and SK Hynix maybe even better here, as that's blasting through VWAP at 172. So we are getting that bounce. I don't think it's happening too strongly in IBIT though. So that's still holding some resistance. Doesn't look like it wants to get to that 37 promptly, but if it closes underneath the volume weighted average price, which right now sits at 36.9, then this will probably end up being the first fade play. Lucid's not bouncing at all. So no, it's so you know what? I might end up in this right here. The longer this bounce happens and Lucid doesn't move, I just think there's still more room. I got to show you guys a 15-minute chart. We went over this in the afternoon. I still think there's room for it to get down into the 620 and even crazier, probably end of the week, like the 580 level. As it failed the top, you know, the structure looks really good for a short, but it's not even bouncing with the market. So it might take a nibble in right here at the volume weighted average price with a tight stop.
We were only going to give this trade, so we're first position of the day right here. I was only going to give it to, I mean, I think this is like a risk-free here. I mean, we could get stopped out. We won't lose that much. And I think the downside is pretty good here. We'll try it. I mean, I just want to try it at 116 to see if we wind up holding. And then I'm going to get out at 116.50 if it does break above 116.50. So we'll take another little piece here at 116. This 116 was a level that I wanted to look at anyways. If we had gotten short, which thankfully we hadn't, it did not break. It came pennies away from breaking. And I was expecting it to potentially break and then make this move. So there's the move now. We can still hit the short when it comes through, but we'll take a short right now in SpaceX. Like I said, man, this has been a trade that's been very, very profitable since the beginning. So we'll take 30 cents there quickly. I don't know if it's going to wind up working, but you know, always it's nice to have that first win under the belt there. So now we'll wait. We still have the, you know, pretty much the full position. I don't know if it's going to be, you know, I'm gonna get out one more piece right there at O's if we can get it, and then we'll wait to see what winds up happening with SpaceX. Hopefully lower moves coming in for us. We're getting piece out right here at there. Oh, almost at 50. There it is at 15. And now we'll wait to see. We got 1503s there. Now we'll wait to see what winds up happening with SpaceX. Quick little trade to start the morning. What's up, Sia?
Keep an eye out for USO as well. All oil names soaring right now. USO is up above 5%. Iran's RGC saying that any base used to attack Iran is also considered a legitimate target. USO on the upside, 5%.
Yeah, although it is coming back a little bit on USO, so there is that possibility that maybe we've made a temp top there. There was this ERGO that I know a few people were looking at. I found EHGO. Hit $5, hit the halt bands, it looks like, and immediately reversing. But that's another small capper, which is going for you. Did jump in. Ooh, Dean. Dean, what do you think about AVAV here? We'll get to that in a quick little second. Remember, Lockheed Martin reported, and that was an interesting looking chart. And one of the reasons why I like defense, but like the better looking chart in GE, is partly what's been going on with those names. So I'm in Lucid. We'll give it to that wick high. But as far as AVAV goes, remember, they do not make money. GE Aerospace makes money. That's the big story. This has to break trend, or I don't like it again. I think I said the last few times I mentioned the same thing. I think they have a fantastic future, but I only want to be involved when it's breaking and holding above the major moving averages. And it's so far away from the 200 that break this trend and get back above the 180. And I'd rather join an up move than kind of work into a down move. I like buying the dip on things that are making that cash. That's just the way I look at it. Like, to me, GE Vernova, I can buy, not GE Vernova, GE Aerospace, you can buy the dip in an uptrend as opposed to trying to catch a falling knife.
Yep. SpaceX took some more short at 16s. You know, we'll see. Like I said, we want to give this up to 1650 anyways. So, you know, if we wind up losing on this one, you know, it will be that 75 cents or so. I don't know if slippage will be too much. We're now in the money on it, so we don't need to talk too negatively about it right there. Nice move higher there today for DRAM, as we talked about. Some of those names starting to kick off this little rally that we've just seen there. Thinking about shorting the NASDAQ at some point here, but we already just short SpaceX. So I don't want to be too glued to the short here in case it doesn't work. But there goes DRAM, now up 1.4%. Marvell got hit to the downside there pretty aggressively. Where's Randy? I mean, I don't want to see what's going on with this coffee here today. But Marvell there all the way back to flat now. That got hit pretty good, man, down to 205. That name trying to rally through just a bit there, Marvell. Let's go back over and have a quick look at Tesla. We mentioned that 336 was your 10% move, and yeah, it held it. It was a good SSR bounce there for a minute, but not involved. I don't really want to get too involved in Tesla. We had looked at some of the markers there, and I said 337. You know, that would have been the level there if you're going to try to break it, but that was also the SSR level. So if you're going to look at a short, I think you got to give it probably to 340 or at something like that on an earnings day, because just because I did get longer in Google in my own account here. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Google off of that 320. So hopefully we can look back and say that was a good buy for the longer term account. And then I did want to look, and the number one idea that I had today was NVIDIA on a ripper. But for right now, NVIDIA is actually moving a little opposite of what this market's doing. Seems like NVIDIA may want to go lower, which is, not making much sense to me there for NVIDIA. As the market rallies and NVIDIA says, hold my beer, I'll take it.
That doesn't make any sense. Like
again.
Apple's at the low too.
Yeah, so maybe 208.50 is something to look at there for NVIDIA. But good morning, Blicky.
Yeah, good morning to you, Blicky, as well. Thank you for the super chat in there. This is a weird one, but I canceled the VWAP because it already made it to the low of the day. But then I went over and looked at what was happening with BMNR, and for some reason that's actually going green. What? So yesterday BMNR was weaker. And ETH was weaker than Bitcoin at one point, but today it looks like it's going to be the opposite. So I've been paid for locates for no reason on BMNR, but you want to be prepared. There's so many times that I do the opposite where you don't, and then the short comes in, and guess what? You hit the key and you've got no locates. But BMNR, some reason, is looking relatively strong. I'm only in that Lucid right now, but we are getting that pop with the market coming in. I do think that's going to lead me back to IBIT. We'll just look for this 36. I want to be out if it breaks 37, so we'll let it pop into the 90s before we engage. Oil just got to the highs, and I crapped on Battle. Well, I didn't really crap on them. I said they weren't moving when oil was going up, and now Battle is moving. So if we break the highs on USO, BATL could come into play here, but not until USO breaks the highs, which it has not yet. We're going to go back up to the desk. See ya. It's going to be a busy one.
Absolutely. USO is on the climb. Like you rightfully said, it's about 5.5%, inching closer to 6%. Right now, Iran's Revolutionary Guards are warning the UK over allowing U.S. bombers to fly from its bases. This is coming from reports, according to state media. Iran's Revolutionary Guards are warning the United Kingdom over allowing U.S. bombers to fly from their bases.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to do anything.
What are you going to do about it?
They can't do anything about it.
What you going to do about it?
That's the problem.
I shouldn't. But I mean, it is kind of true. Like at the end of the day, you're going to get this continued tit for tat, and
yeah, I think it's just. I don't think we're trying to be negative about anything. Just it's reality. We've seen this back and forth with this discussion, and doesn't seem to be okay. There's another buyer right there on SpaceX. So we haven't seen many lit orders come through of this magnitude. It'll still get hit, but just I saw it yesterday, and it sort of created a little bit of a rally there. So I'm actually going to cancel my 1650 and go to 17, and it could easily run that level, and then we get stopped out. I only have 3/4 of a unit right now, so I'm not too nervous about it. I don't think we'll be adding too much to it. If anything, I just don't really want to add at 1650. I'd rather just see if that is the up and down. We don't want to start the day. We haven't had, great starts to the day. We always have to battle it back throughout the afternoon in some of our later trades. But I'm not going to give this one too much love here. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work on SpaceX. What a good rally, man. I mean, congratulations to David and to everybody else that said potentially rally time and the NASDAQ could get to green. Like, I don't think anybody would have thought that there today. And, you know, you're halfway back. It was down, what, 1.6, maybe something like that. So now you're up to 1. So you're not a little bit less than halfway, but, you know, you're starting to climb back up right into VWAP again there. So if we are going to think a little negatively there today, I put down the TQs as a possibly, now we're in the money again here on SpaceX. It's just going to be one of those things. I'm bidding a little bit out at 50, see if we can take 30 cents, and then and by a little bit, I mean 10%. And we'll take it out another bit, a little bit lower if we're able to do that. But yeah, the NASDAQ, now I can think about maybe this level there on the 200 period, 68.50s, 68.60s, something like that there for the TQQs as a possible short right now. And, you know, it's not being helped by, unfortunately, NVIDIA. I thought NVIDIA, oh no, there goes in. Okay, well, it's better off than that 208.50 we were looking at last time as that's starting to go. And here we go again. Let's go, man. We'll go 1 for 1 right now today. We are waiting for a little bit more out here. There it is. Yes, yes. Okay. Not only did we reload SpaceX, but here we go again, man. We're starting the short in SPCX downside right now. A couple good fills. There we go. Let's see how low can we go right now. Put another bid here in the 80s, but we want to make sure that we are able to hold a little bit. We had bounced off of 50s, so we'll put another bid down there near 50. But hey, there it is, man. It happens often. Maybe not often enough, but there's $1.20 right now on SpaceX, man. We just believed in the trade. We sat in it, and there it goes. This is what you got to do when you believe in something. We did increase our stop, though, a little bit higher, and now that's about 1-to-1 on that. So with that being said, one more bid here at 57s. We get that. Now we can let this go because, you know, now we're sort of playing with house money. Let's see what winds up happening here with the TQQs.
Let it go, Katina. Don't hold it back anymore.
Let it go.
We got a super chat in here. Finally got into Bitcoin, but I'm also going to take the reversion on BMNR. I know it's both, but I can't ignore that kind of a trend up. Tom Anthony, not Anthony, Anthony, what do you think of SMCI not tired yet? I don't know what the second part means, but what do I think of SMCI? Dell. That's what I think of SMCI, in all seriousness. I like it. I think Dell's better. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, today it's a short at 32 because I wasn't really doing any work on this one. But I do much prefer Dell. I just feel like you get a little bit less like reputational risk, and then you're buying something with a better upward trend. If I was trading it today, I'm thinking pop and fade on most things, but I don't know why I'd be considering SMCI this morning. But look at what happened at 32. There was a 31.50 seller for about an hour yesterday, and then look what happened at 32. A complete reversion level. So if you think it's the market's a bit of a fugaze, then to me 32 would be a sell. But again, there's one stock that is better than the other. And if you look inside of a sector and the daily chart is not ambiguous as to which is the better chart, then it's telling you everything you need to know. I don't need to know fundamentals between the two. You just read a chart.
All right, we got some, I asked for some ideas early here, and I'm just going to start to respond to them a little bit here. Dane Generous. So I said in here, you know, need some ideas below. Let's give them to us right there. The Qs, playing to stay patient. I think that's a good idea there, Dane. Looking to, and, you know, that would have been a great idea. To stay patient. Do you see what the Qs did there? IREN says KTT there. Good little look there. So we like that one. Walmart has been a good one. I prefer TGT. So we'll say what's up to you, GD Surfer there. Good move there. We'll check out Walmart in a minute. Actually, check out Walmart right now. You know, with whoopsies, not Walmart.am. What was that? Okay, here it is. So, okay, now it's right at this level that Joe was talking about earlier, 107. So I'm actually going to get another piece out here. I don't know. SpaceX just went up. Randy, I think he's racing his car out there. We have to go find that out right now. Him versus nobody, Randy world. All right, so we'll see if this goes to the downside right there. There's that breaking spot that we talked about earlier. So maybe in the midday show, you know, we can get some opinions there. But Joe made a great call on this move from 108 up to 116. Yesterday, Joe kind of scoffed at me when I said yesterday, wait out for the 108 break tomorrow. But there it is right now, 107.50 in play right now for Walmart. And I think this could be a good bounce level. So good on you there, GD. Oh, you're saying Walmart's been weak, should be more downside. Okay, I was going to say you may see a bid coming in at some point here on Walmart, just because it's at this level. We've seen that before. Northwest Sasquatch is riding the wave of volatility on the SPY. I definitely like that one. Far hand there. Google could bounce 322.50. Let's go have a quick look to see if that's the case. And by the way, here comes SpaceX. Here comes SpaceX right down Shortville Lane.
322.50.
Yeah, where's Google right
319.
Oh, okay, it's lower.
It's like 1% lower from, well, the super chat, the message is probably old.
Yeah, no, it's way old. It's 20 minutes ago. But the idea there was that, I mean, there it goes, 667. Oh, no, we just saw that there. But yeah, Google, I thought maybe Google had retraced back up with this move there, but no, looks like it's coming into 320. Like I said, we got long around that 321 or 320 marker, I guess. We were long almost right off the open. So yeah, we'll see what winds up happening as there goes Google. Getting to the downside, man, getting jiggy with it. Now 318 and change, down 7%. I mean, I've seen Google down 10+% on earnings days as well. So yeah, more problems here abound for Google. And I'm going to guess at this point that IBM, okay, well, I would have guessed wrong.
It actually held.
Yeah, I was going to say it probably did not hold that 200, but
it's ServiceNow that was nasty.
You guessed wrong, boy.
ServiceNow is the one, like when it fell that 100 level, it couldn't get back to it. But it's IBM. Maybe this is the recipe. The week before your earnings, just have the CEO come out and defecate all over the company and their future prospects. And then when the earnings come out and the market's dying, you don't have anything to worry about because it couldn't be any worse than your worst day ever last week. Anyways, can you tell I have shares of IBM? I don't know. Maybe you can. BMNR, I'm going to get out on the reversion to VWAP, and then IBIT, I'm going to hold and reload because one of them's trending up and the other one's trending down. Right? I think that makes obvious sense. IBIT just broke the low of the day. I got 36.6-ish, like next, kind of in the middle of this gap, and then I want the bottom of this gap here, which is on Monday, just double checking, 36.4. So gonna try to reload it at VWAP if we get there and continue to play this one to the downside. Tesla's getting absolutely wrecked. Ronnie Boy, thanks for the super chat. I just saw it.
What's up, Ronnie Boy?
You probably had that a while ago. The best show on YouTube. Love Neil and Sean. Been watching for 6 years.
Congratulations.
Really need to get
we've been on that long? Oh my God.
We need to get a congratulations key that doesn't flash a bunch of Bitcoins and something that's a little bit more, like flash something that's more positive. Bitcoin, we made that graphic when Bitcoin was on 120,000.
Yeah,
best membership I have ever bought.
What a surprise.
Cheaper than a cup of coffee. That is absolutely right. And with that membership that's cheaper than a cup of coffee, you could be all over Sharif's morning note, ServiceNow. We got in here. I'm in the middle of it right now. There's multiple pages. Here you've got the story for IBM, Tesla, of course, leading with Alphabet here. It'll always be all of the earnings plays. Anything that's out there, $4.99 a month. All you got to do is hit the join that is below. It's always like 10 to 15 minimum pages long of information and technicals. That's the key. You'll get some technical levels in there. So I want to thank you for being part of the membership party. Thanks, Sharif, for putting it out there. And thank you so much for all of our viewers. I mean, whether you're super chatting, whether you're buying memberships, whether you're just in here asking questions or contributing to the community. Oh, I just looked over.
Yeah, Sky.
Those are going today, aren't they? Of course they wouldn't go yesterday, but today they do.
Yeah, I mean, I hit this a couple days ago, but there goes Sky Q right now. Thank you, Randy, to the upside. We're now $1.70 in the money on this SpaceX short. But yeah, there goes Sky Q. Taking out some levels again today. I mean, if you're going to go a little longer time frame there, that's 650, that's 7 right there. I mean, a name that's going to work as oil continues to pump higher. We have seen that along with the name Battle as well as that continues to go. But for me, it's simple. It's always simple, man. It is short, the weak names, play momentum. A blind man can see what the trade is on SpaceX. Glad you're here with me on that one right now. SpaceX, just the bell of the ball here this morning for the trade anyways. I'm only in one trade, so there it goes to the downside. We have just under half left as we break below on SPCX. It's one of them days. What's up, Sia?
Yeah, keep an eye out on this ticker Honeywell, HON right now. We're seeing recognized a gain of $6,629 million during 3 and 6 months that have ended June 30th due to deconsolidation of Quantinium. Right now, you have Honeywell, HON, that's up over 5% on the day.
Oh, that's a great looking chart. 250 breakout on Honeywell. Yes, yes, and yes. That is fantastic. See, there's a bull market somewhere, everybody. It's not just a tagline. We got another super chat from Adam James abroad. ADVB, boom. I'm going to assume that sucker has actually halted to the... No, it hasn't halted, but I'm going to assume that it is breaking higher, because if you're talking about a small capper, usually you're not celebrating boom if it is going down, unless you're Luis Barbado. So yesterday's high, 18. It's trying to break out that 18 level. So remember, it doesn't die if it's making a higher low. If it doesn't break the low, there's only one place that it can go. So I want to shout out to you. And a good one there. There's a couple of halts, but SkyQ we already went over. Well, Sean went over SkyQ. And that's going to be... Well, that's an energy play. I feel like the energy ones might have a bit more juice because USO did break that high. So you got to watch out for that. IBIT, we're going to reload this one at VWAP when we get it. Lucid just tagged the bottom again. And then we're going to try to reload this one underneath yesterday's lows. I did say with BMNR that I would get out at VWAP because I don't know why it's upward trending, but it is. So again, doesn't really have to make sense, but it's upward trending for now. If it loses the volume weighted average price, I can try to short it at some of those bottoms. But yeah, some strength coming into BMNR of all things. I hate to be skeptical. It's not like the stock can't go up, but on a weekday for the market with ETH at the lows, it is a bit surprising.
We're it's nothing better than with 25 minutes into your workday, you've done everything you need to do. And that's what's happened here for SpaceX. So, I try to talk about putting on trades that you believe in and trying to hold on to them to make your day and so on and so forth. I still am of the firm belief that this job is one that you could be most successful in it if you take it as a part-time job where you have some income coming in somewhere else. So that's why it's important. And sometimes I get involved a little too early. I think we did pretty good here. We waited till 9:35, and sometimes you lose off the open. So, you do have to celebrate and make sure that you do take the responsible outs when they're there. But at the same time, trying to hold. And we said that we were playing with house money. So as this continues to bleed down, you're starting to make a little bit of that now. And it's starting to start to add up. So I do think there's more downside, but what I get at all this is that this is not, an easy sort of thing to look at every day, the stock market. So when you do have winners, like this is 250 in the money in a half hour right there, worth taking, maybe a little bit off, go spend some time with your family, because as we all know, trading, is very volatile and you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So I'm starting to take a little bit of profit out here, and that's why I'm just really focusing on this name there, because it's everything to me today, right? And that is SpaceX. So I hope you guys have had some successful trades there as well. BMNR on my side over here with Neil. Now I still love all of those names, but I got to get over and try to maybe find something else. But I like.
Well, we don't love BMNR.
No, that was a good short, right? Wasn't it?
But we don't like the stock.
No. But I'm saying the trades. This is what we love to trade, these names that are actively moving. Right?
I just don't want to get it twisted, because I think there's a very strong collective opinion about the treasury names.
No, but I'm saying I love SpaceX.
Yeah,
it's been a huge boon and windfall there for the trade, right? And so I'm just saying we, love to short that. I do have IBIT written down as well on my note, but I was waiting for a move higher. It just never really happened. Into VWAP, fine. I already marked down 37. I believe that's the level that I wrote on here anyways. IBIT 37, yeah. So it's got to get up there. If it does, great, but it may not. So I think that this short there, although I know you're only a couple pennies in, we'll see what winds up happening. I do think that there is a retracement there. And those of you that were predicting the NASDAQ to go for a jaunt, that was right. And I was even mentioning it, which again, we sit here and we trade all day, so we're going to throw out many ideas. But how about that? We said the market's ripping into VWAP right there, gave you a great opportunity to make a few handles there, maybe 200 of them all the way now down to the downside on that. But hey, man, we're still printing. I've now got about a third left here on IBIT as we start to make new lows now into 1340. Look, I'm just going to piece out a couple percentage points on the way down as we make new lows on this name. Sky Quarry, by the way, finally falling. Look, whether or not it's falling now or not, it halted there, opened back up, and now it's 580 and potentially looking for the downside there in Sky Quarry.
It wasn't the only one. There was also...
Did Battle halt?
No, there's this really, really small one that I want to caution people on, STFS. It's done very, very small shares, but it halted down and is now it didn't try to halt up. It's now halted up consecutive times. So sometimes that can be a bit of a turnaround, but it's not 100,000 shares. I would say, everyone do what you want to do, but that's too little volume in my opinion, because you can't really manage risk. I know SkyQ's moving around, but it's then 8 million shares. There's a very big difference in terms of liquidity between those two. So I'm going to tag, I did not get the fill up here because I was going off of 36.9 instead of VWAP, so that was a mistake by myself, but I'll still put a bid at the low of the day and try to get the next available pop. I still think as long as Tesla goes, Lucid's going to go. Trying to get a better price. I've been shorting at VWAP instead of looking at the actual high and then giving it to 75. So we'll try to get 70s the next time through. And speaking of the aforementioned Tesla, it still hasn't done any kind of a trend break. So for me, when I look at an SSR bounce, I want to see a distinct bottoming tail candle or a trend break. So it might have got to that level, but didn't really give any kind of an entry for myself. It is still falling like an absolute rock. We can hit that thing. I could hit the market red, but at this point, it's looking a little bit redundant. Let us know what other names you guys are watching chat. I know we're covering some of the same stuff in here, especially on the earnings names. That's what we have to. And for the one that was the strongest, it's green again, but that doesn't look that good. Talking about ServiceNow. Strong bid off the lows, got back into green territory, but looks like it's rolling over again. Thank you, ServiceNow.
Yeah, ServiceNow. Kind of was mentioning about that stock. Yeah, ServiceNow. We need Service now, and we're not getting it on that name. I'm okay. So just took out some more there of SpaceX, and what's up, Salvador? Thank you so much for the nice comment there, and I'm glad that you're able to get some out. Just got some more out of SpaceX, holding on to 20%, almost the exact same as me right there. So we say, watch out for those glizzies coming right at you right there. Good trade and congratulations. Whether or not that was a trade that you were looking at or not. I mean, we were still going to short 14. I don't know what trade you have, Salvador, but that 1450 was going to be a trade, and then we just put on our thinking caps and was shorting the top side of it anyways, risking again here's a trade, right? It's $2.50 in the money now. We talked about the risk was 70 cents. So here's a 4-to-1 for you straight off the jump, and hopefully it's going to be a good one moving forward now. But we do have a good one in the back there with Sia, so let's go find out what she's up to at the big desk.
We're going to start right off the bat by taking a look at what the three major averages are doing at the moment. You have the SPY down by 1%. We had the three major averages also open negative today's trading day. The triple Qs are also down 1.2%. The Dow down close to 8%. And you have the IWM also down 0.73%. Let's take a look at two things I want to talk to you about right now. USO is starting right. Brent has shot up to over $100 a barrel, and Helly McCroft, who is the global head of commodity strategy, has said that extreme pressure is building in the region that could definitely send Brent oil over $128 per barrel. Further, we're also going to take a look at AAL, American Airlines, has further cut its 2026 earnings outlook. As of today, shares have slid further down over 8.5% right now. The company has cited higher fuel costs being one of the reasons for this cut. And this is definitely a sign that a jump in fares is not enough for the company and for the airline to fully offset this year's spike in fuel prices. So with that, AEL down on the day 8.5%.
SMCI ripping to the highs of the day as well. You can have a quick look at that one if you're looking for some names that are potentially bids rather than offers in this kind of a market. There goes SMCI up 4% right now. And if you are looking for some volatility in the market, we do have an offer for you right now. It's called limited risk trading, and this is brought to you by Trade the Pool. These markets have been extremely active, and for traders, this kind of environment creates, as you can clearly see, big opportunities, more setups, more momentum. But to take advantage of this, you need two things, both discipline and, of course, access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. No. This is called limited risk trading. So if you take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please give our good friends at Trade the Pool a look. Visit tradethepool.com and scan that QR code right there in front of your screen. Hey guys, just scan that QR code right now. Let them know that you're having a look at it. You don't have to sign up, but it would definitely help us if you had a look over there at Trade the Pool. So please scan it, head over there, give them some traffic, let them know that you're watching Trader TV Live, and keep them funding, obviously, part of this show. And we want to thank Trade the Pool. We have Mitch on, we have Steve on. There's a couple great analysts over there, so I think you're in good hands with Trade the Pool. Go make sure you do. Check him out. Yo, wiki. I was watching Trailer Park Boys, and my favorite character on that show, of course, is J-Rock. So we have to watch some more Trailer Park Boys.
You
haven't seen it, right there. Shout out to the whitest of white guys. That's a rapper, J-Rock, on Trailer Park Boys. He was also in Mr. D and a few different shows. I have no idea the guy's name. But
I'm still a Mr. Leahy.
Yeah, he passed away.
I know, rest in peace. I don't know the actor's name, which sucks, but may rest in peace. I think it is one of the
He's a great
classic comedic characters of all time. He played that so well. But I want to shout out in the chat, those that were mentioning
Randy.
Mara's going absolutely ham with the gut hanging out.
Yeah, get those cheeseburgers going ASAP. Hey, imagine we have cheeseburgers today. That'd be nice.
Don't do that, because now it's 10 o'clock. Now you're making me hungry. And now it's going to be a trash
protein
lunch.
In cheeseburgers. There might be too much protein in cheeseburgers.
Man. You just jinxed it.
There's some
We're going to get a trash lunch.
Fat is obviously good for you, as many people know. But you will get some good protein there.
Yes.
With the cheese and the burgers.
Yes.
You can throw out the buns over there. And it's also called living life.
You have to enjoy food at some point.
Well, not according to Sharif. You don't have to.
Oh, okay. In my personal opinion, I think it is one of life's pleasures.
As do I.
As long as in moderation. Like, you can have a cheat day. You can enjoy and still have a healthy diet. The healthy diet of buying, this is my way to segue to this.
That's a good one.
For Mara, and Hut 8, and this is why it was on the watch list. Morgan Stanley initiated overweight rating on them, but they also added 3 additional Bitcoin miners turned high-performance computing companies to their coverage for the same reasons. So this would be the reason why you're seeing Hut 8 is strong, Mara is strong. The market stinks, but those names are catching a bit of a bid. So they're allowed to go up, apparently. So I'm going to have no more bids on Lucid until we fill the gap further into the 40s. So we just bounced off the 650 level, right? Like 70 to 60 to 50, like every kind of 10 pennies until you get to 625. But there is a bit of a bid. So while that's still falling with the market, there's a bit of a bid forming on iBit. So here's the 15-minute chart. Like, it basically slid all the way down to be able to give about 20 cents of a move here with about 10 of risk, but it is bouncing, and there is a little bit of strength coming back into the market. So I want to be pretty cautious with it on the way back, and just have to be really, really interested in this Google bounce, because look at that. Look at this candle. That's a great bottoming tail candle on the 15-minute for Alphabet. But you know what? If it loses 320, doesn't matter a hill of beans. If you get this bottoming tail candle, and it cannot hold 320 here in the next 15 minutes. And if Alphabet doesn't turn, good luck with this market turning. Let's go up to the desk with Sia.
AAL, as I mentioned, is sliding further down, more than 8.5% of reported earnings. We're just going to take a look over the numbers, what was going on over here. Adjusted EPS at 15 cents per share versus estimated of 0.03. Total revenue coming in at $16.74 billion, which is in line with the expectations as well. Net income at $71 million GAAP, which is an 88% decrease from $599 million in the second quarter of the year 2025, all due to fuel expenses. We'll get into that soon. Passenger revenue per available seat mile, which is PRASM, the metric, has risen 10% compared to the previous year. Full year 2026 outlook of the company as well. It has been revised full year EPS guidance as well. Now projecting results ranging from an adjusted loss of 65 cents per share to an earnings of 65 cents per share. Headwinds, however, here to take a look at, like I mentioned, are that the airline has cited massive fuel cost pressures that have impacted its earnings numbers as well, estimating a roughly $2.2 billion or 50% increase in fuel expenses year over year. AAL sliding towards the downside, inching closer to 9% on the day.
All right, thanks, Sia. I just wanted to say here on SpaceX, I am going to take some out on a 25 break. We just got another 60. Like all of these fills down here. It seems like I'm propping the stock up, but believe me, with the amount of shares I'm using, I'm definitely not doing that. But it seems like this 1360. And again, just because we like to short doesn't mean that we have to be in this all day. So we're starting to cover, and we have less and less of this position now. Still about 20, a little bit more than about 25% still, just taking small covers. But we'll take out, we'll take out 25% of what we have left. So yeah, we'll take about 6-7% of what it was from the top, but doesn't matter. So I'm getting another piece out. Doesn't matter the amount I'm getting out. Just letting you guys know, right into there, 14.25 is an out. So if that's going to be an out, I might as well take another bid here as it comes back in. So there it is. We take another fill right there at 72s. So that was a good one. And again, you could see in there it goes now it's through the 60s. So maybe it wasn't that good. Let's now wait for a third. I'm not going to take any more 60s down there. We just take advantage of that move down. That's one of the more aggressive candles right there. And look at the market bleeding right now as well. Tesla. Let's go have a look at that one. Mac's not rolling around in any Teslas these days, it doesn't look like, if you're in the stock today, as that's now down 12%. We had mentioned that there could be a possible hold there for the SSR bounce, and that was well held for 2 minutes, and then it was whoops again, as this is looking like a roller coaster that you don't want to be on, because just too choppy, too much downside pressure on that one right now. Maybe we're finally starting to find a bid here at 326, but if you kind of zoom, let's go. SpaceX right now is at its lows, 1330. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. That's a good one, man. What a day changer for me right there. Well, it's the only trade I'm in, but 320. Normally we're down by this time, but not now. We are up on our day. But
it is down.
Yeah. No. I mean, my.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Because normally I make a mistake once or twice off the open. Right there, 320. That is 325, and that's going to be a level, I guess, if you're going to look at something there for Tesla, especially if you're looking to cover something.
Put up a weekly 280.
Well, yeah.
You're talking about the day trade.
There's a lot. Yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, if you're short rate now, 326 I think is where we're at. Well, we just bounced off. So I didn't even realize we just bounced off 326. I was going to say get out maybe $1 or $2 ahead of that 325. It's such a dramatic move down. You're not going to hate yourself for, just like me here on. Wow. Well, now I hate myself for getting out on SpaceX, but there, look at that move. Wow. But yeah, anyways, I was going to say you'll be fine getting some out here if you've been short. Just don't let it gather and then rip. That's all. It's like it's giving you these outs right there. So, and look, I'm speaking my own book because this is how I trade. Like, this was giving me outs right here. So I took them, and it bounced off a couple times. Like we got out numerous times there, thought we maybe hit the bottom, so got out twice, got out again when it came back to 1360, got out again right there, and then just put our order at 1312s and took that fill down there to the downside. So it's like I do want to try to get out when I do see some potential floors building, but it's just on SpaceX. Like yesterday we were short 119, the day before we were short 130, and it's just like it's bleeding, right? And so there it comes, bye-bye 113. Like, if you're going to post size on there, that's actually a death wish because it doesn't care. You're going to get whatever you post. So as soon as we saw that 13, like, we're now 350 in the money. So this was a 70-cent trade. So this trade is 5-1, and we should have done, again, maybe a little bit better and tried to hold on to this just a bit more. The reason why I put 1420s there as my out is that was the top of these 2-minute candles right there, and we didn't break it, so we went back into the downside. But following what we talked about with Brian the other day, I would have been almost all of it out up here at 116 if we follow the break of these 2-minute candles. But we're trying to piece it out and watch this name just continue to go to the downside, man. It's SpaceX, the only trade I have on. And I think that the fact of being so focused on one trade has kept me out of a lot of trouble, because Google there at 320, I might have played that back and forth a little bit, and that's at day's low as well. And I think I could have also lost on NVIDIA because I was pretty bullish on NVIDIA today, and that's just been a chop fest. So maybe the time to get long on NVIDIA's right now into some of these bids. So we'll have to take a look at that trade. But yeah, so far so good.
I want to get to this message. How are we shorting? Not via options. We are trading prop at real trading, and we are executing on actual shares. Right? So we have direct market access. We are literally just shorting actual shares every single time, to the extent that maybe your broker doesn't look. It wouldn't be true for anything I'm trading. Actually, no, I had to pay for Lucid shorts, and you would have to pay for SpaceX.
Yep.
So it's actually true of 2 of the 3. If there's a small fee and the locates to borrow the shares aren't free, then we pay a small fee. It'll be fractions of a cent per share, but we're always trading shares here. At some point, maybe we'll get options on the platform, but not just yet. For now, I know you joke about it too. But
No, because I think someone, I don't know if it was Joe or Obi or somebody said about, I think it was 2.5 years ago, and they said options imminent, and I was like, and 2.5 years later.
I was a trainee when they were imminent, Sean.
Imminent. Yeah, so not imminent anytime soon.
No.
That was about 20 years ago.
But that's one of the advantages of trading prop, because you have the ability to engage easily in either direction that the market is going. So when the market's going down, you can make your moves and get profitability out. That's very, very important.
Yep. And we did talk about real trading. I'll show you some numbers of some traders around here very soon, and we'll show you some of the stats that are coming through for us. And of course, the same story is always true there, and that is that it's very hard business, but those that are successful, the 1 or 2% are pretty successful. So watch out for that. This is, we tweeted this out 30 minutes ago, and it was at 114, and we started sort of talking about this SpaceX short, and there it goes, bleeding into the downside, which is now, by the way, 350 and at its lows. I just took a bid there at 1275. I'm just going to try to do what I'm thinking about, and that's take some bids at key levels. So I'm actually going to let 1250 go right now. Does it have a 1 handle in it, like a 110 handle? I would think so there, and we talked about that yesterday, and I was calling it 105, and here comes 110 again, down another 2%. You're not even down that much yet on the name. So
it's only 2 points.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot more to go to the downside for SpaceX if they really want to sell this thing. As we know, lockup is looming. I don't think lockup is that big of a deal there. I think what's happening now is people are panicking against that lockup. So, I don't know. Like if I was sitting on a couple schmil of SpaceX right now, I've just lost half of everything I thought I was going to make off of at least the first couple of days. And you don't even have to look at the first couple of days. You can even just go back even to the beginning of July. Like July 1st, this name was 168. And now you're down to 112. So you've seen those mortgage payments and all that kind of stuff kind of evaporate right in front of your face. I don't know if you're willing to push. And you guys tell me if anybody's watching this, that's an insider of SpaceX that has the opportunity. And mainly the lockup is going to consist of founders and employees and early stakeholders. So you tell me, are you going to be dumping your SpaceX shares on August 6th, regardless of the price? That's what I think the market is reacting to right now. They're acting as if people are going to dump SpaceX no matter what the price is. So I don't know. And that's why I'm trying to seriously ask everybody, is that the question? Is that what most people are thinking about if you are one of those early founders that do have an opportunity to get yourself out of SpaceX? Are you going to take that opportunity on August the 6th and then subsequently weeks after that?
Why bother asking rhetorically when we can literally ask your opinion about that right now? Will insiders dump when SpaceX lockup expires? Type 1 in the chat for dump it. You're not dumping it. You think they're dumping it. And 2 for hodl or whatever. It's just for hold. So let us know via your vote. If you feel like, what is this vote thing and how am I supposed to do it? Jump in the chat. It means you're not in the chat. Hit the subscribe button. It's a subs only chat. So everyone's saying dump it. Yeah, it's a lot of ones up in here. Everyone's saying the ones.
So that means
dump
it's going to be 2.
72% early, 70% early. Remember yesterday, it was pick one of the 4 earnings names that you'd want to buy. Dead last on that list was IBM. Second last was ServiceNow. And everyone wanted Google, and Google's to the downside. So sometimes if it's overloaded one way and overwhelming, oftentimes the sentiment shifts at the other. So we'll keep that one up, see how the votes are going, follow back with that, maybe 15 or 20 minutes or so. But for now, we are going back to the desk with Sia.
Ticker VRT on the rise here right now. Keep an eye out. Vertiv Holdings, which is a global leader in critical digital infrastructure, has, as of today, earlier pre-market, announced the deployment of integrated power here. Liquid cooling, also rack infrastructure and installation services supporting the Naval Postgraduate School's NPS's new NVIDIA DGX GB300 systems. Keep an eye out, VRT.
Thank you very much, Sir Sia. Sia doing a fantastic job filling in for it. Darrow's off a couple of days, and it's a seamless transition. I got good news and I got bad news. Actually,
Why not just give us both?
okay. Bad news first. Remember the 320 on Alphabet? Didn't hold. Alphabet's at the low of the day. The good news is, and it's probably not going to matter to Alphabet or to the market, but the good news would be USO's pulled back into VWAP, so there's that.
Whoop whoop.
Well, I don't know if it's going to matter at the end of the day, but we'll see. Hopefully the tech stocks actually give a darn about that. But the third short that we got that LOD and IBIT. It might matter to Bitcoin, silver, gold a little bit more. They're coming right back into resistance. So if we get another topping tail candle, I will go for the reload. If these start breaking out, I will try to remind myself that BM&R was relatively strong, but I still like the short. I got out because this was relatively strong. Again, it was making a bull flag, so we were like, I'll hold Bitcoin and then not hold BM&R because it looked like the stronger chart. Now it's making progressively lower lows. So it starts holding under the volume weighted average price, and I gotta jump into that one. I already mentioned the plan of action with Lucid. I want to hold for 6.25 here, but I've got my bids right underneath this shelf and then fill in this gap to last Friday. So effectively looking for like, oh, my price is 666. Well, that's not intentional. Down here, their ultimate target's that 40-cent mark. They're on Lucid. So I still think that one's going to dump. Probably Rivian's going to dump as well. It's not all Tesla sympathy. Part of it is what happened yesterday, where it just made that hard turn after the squeeze. Speaking of Tesla, 13% down and still falling, 325. Okay, it doesn't care about that oil bounce.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, and we were looking at 325 before and actually thought that there was potentially a good opportunity down there at 325. And we had mentioned this could be a bouncing spot, but I also was like, hey, if you've been short, take some profit ahead of that spot. So now you're getting even a better price than you did last time. Shout out to Joe Williams in the chat. Thank you for the nice comment there. As we continue to go up, and I want to thank everybody that's been here forever, including, wow, 58 months. So thank you so much, Yannick, man. A member for 58 months. That's amazing. And we want to say thank you so much. It's been a minute. Great to see you back here, Yannick. And, thank you for the continued support. And things have changed if you haven't been here in a while. We got Sia part of the team now. We've got some guy named Joe over there. And we do have a huge screen. What's up, Joe? We do have a big screen in the back there now. That's absolutely amazing. And all of your tweets are on there. All of your posts are on there. The super chats are on there. The polls are on there. The subs, everything. We want to thank everybody for all of that. And of course, we know who Joe is. He is one half of the member of Katina Wilson Capital. So we say a big shout out to Joe. And Joe, we got to rethink about our position on Google, I guess. What's up to Blair? Yeah, I'm buying more right now, my guy. Right there, we have 58 months. And then we have another 8 month here from Blair. So thank you, Blair. For that one. Has it been that long already of a day? I don't know. I think for me, it's been a great day, probably the best day of the month for me so far. Not the month, but of the week for me so far. So it's been a good one. And yeah, so far so good. And we'll just keep on, looking at some names there. I think Tesla 350, 325 could be that next trade. But as Neil mentioned, Google is at the lows as well. And that's not helping anybody with this market pull down. But yeah, maybe, we wanted to let things settle down. And this is the key thing right here because the market is right now settling. It's 10:20. We could potentially, what's going on over there on TikTok? We can have a quick little look to see if there's any of our other friends chilling out there on TikTok as well. Here we go. And again, they're all on the board in the back there. We want to say a big shout out to Noon Loon here. Everybody that's part of our great team right now. It's a little something that we like to call roll call right now. So Cryptonomics. I like that name, Cryptonomics. What's up, Juan Padilla, Noon Loon? We just talked about it. Anybody on TikTok, now is your time to shine. Beyonce's on TikTok. Holla on that one. What's up, Bitcoin trader as well? We like you there. There's Beyonce again. Good shave. I like that you shaved Jay-Z's head there at that concert. It was looking ridiculous. Okay, after that, Minnesota traders here. You see I got the ice vest on. The one and the only here. Pattern Keys as well. MF Dane Generous. Of course, thank you for all of your contributions, MF Dane as well. 56 new messages. Okay, this is starting to get crazy over here. Craig is here as well. Laser's here. There's Beyonce again. Good ho, everybody. Mike, some guy named Mike P. DeRider. Who is this guy right there? Thank you. Thanks for joining us for the first time here, Mike. And then everybody else. T-Money, one of the best. We here, says T-Money, another member that's been with us for a minute. I do have an outcoming at 1350. I just put on SpaceX there. So if we break through 1350, then we'll take another piece out. Very, very light on this trade right now. I'd say we have 20% left and looking to get out a little bit more. All the breaking spots haven't hit for us. So we were going to get out at 1425. That didn't hit. We have another opportunity to get out some at 1350. So a fall back into 1250 will put another bid out there right now. Anything you want to cover? Because we're going to go to SIA.
I've put a break-even stop in IBIT. I wanted to hold this one through the low. So it's slightly up, but it's more of a flat trade, mostly because I did not take it all out at the bottom. I think Lucid's going to be a different story there. BMNR, that was good. Lucid looks like it's projecting toward an all-day hold at this point, or at least until the target of 625. But I do like the opportunity to reload this one at the volume-weighted average price. I've really only traded 3 names. It's the first name in a while. None of them have been any chip names. Again, BMNR was probably a mistake. I'll also have to fail on that because it was stronger, so I thought fade into VWAP. We took like the 1-point move, and now it's giving you 2. But I have not touched DRAM. I haven't even looked at Intel this morning, which is a bit of a change, and I'm glad. Because if you were bearish on these, there was maybe one shot here in DRAM, maybe. If you're real quick, kind of like that, at the moment that I would have been looking at BMNR was your only chance to go short. Intel, there was a story with Intel this morning. Obviously, they're reporting tonight, but there was further speculation between them and partnering with some memory chip names for their Ohio plant. And SK Hynix was again mentioned, even though that was refuted a couple of days ago. But that got brought up again with Intel. And they're after the bell today. That's why I'm staying away from Intel. Like, you think you're done with earnings season? Oh, these guys got to come in here and give us the goods. Feel a little bit better about them than we did last night. I think they have a much better chance for positivity than Tesla did. But we'll see. I mean, it could be dead wrong about that. Because Intel was a $45 stock. Go back to March. So it's not like it isn't 2x from just a few months ago. Let's go back to SIA.
The IWM Russell 2000 index currently down 0.5%. Let's take a look at 3 individual tickers at the moment. You have ACI, that's Albertsons Companies, that's down over 18% on the day, lowered its fiscal 2026 outlook, citing certain softer demand and a more cautious consumer. The company has also said that it's now, quote unquote, moving decisively to invest in customer experience because it believes that it will improve the growth trajectory even more. You have AMKR, that is Amcor Technologies here, down 1%. It's maintained at neutral by B. Riley Securities, just analyst commentary, nothing crazy going on over here. Finally, you have AMPL, Amplitude, that's down 4%. Average price target for the company has risen from $11.05 to $11.36, with forecasts ranging from $8.5 to $18 per share.
Okay, thanks, Sia. I did start a new position over here right now. I don't know. I want to get it lower, so we just put on very, very small piece right now. Looking for more. I mean, I bid 50s and missed it there, and I just wanted to come over to it. So here it comes back in. Hopefully we do get it. There we go. See, trust someone that's honest. And there it is, 208.50. Just runs us over right there. So we take a bid there. And if this does break through 208, we'll just give it a heartbeat underneath that. And then we will stop ourselves out for potentially a losing trade. And, you know, I just want to, you know what, I'm going to maybe go a little bit lower. By the way, SpaceX is just puking again all over itself one more time as we just continue to, you know, sort of run the gauntlet over there with SpaceX. But, okay, you know what, I was going to buy a little bit right here. I just canceled, buy a little bit at 23. Okay, there we go. I put some more down here at 10s or at 15s, I think it was there. Let me tell you what I just got filled at 15s. Yeah, so, but okay, so SpaceX, we said we would do this. There was the break. It did not go above 30. Like, we almost got stopped out again at 1/3, stopped out, trailed out of, you know, 10%. But right there, 13.50 does not hit. So we'll take guess what? $1 back on that move lower. I mean, whatever shares we were going to get out there, I'm now going to cancel that stop out and now see if we can ride just a little bit lower here on, of course, SpaceX. So that's going to be a trade of mine. And now we wait for NVIDIA. We're long right here at 208.30s, much more comfortable position against 208. So, you know, have just about half a unit on this. So if it does mature up, great. We can add, sort of stack up some of our position or some of our P&L there and get out of NVIDIA if it does make this move. So, take out a little bit north of 50, take out a little bit more in the 60s, and here it goes back up to the upside. So again, decent trading here, trying to put some more, pieces of the puzzle together here. And NVIDIA right now at these lows. Let's just see if the NASDAQ wants to bounce. I mean, you just mentioned Google was at the lows, Tesla's at the lows. And NVIDIA right here is a name that I like today. It is the number one long on here. I like the CapEx story with them and what that means for some of these spenders out there. And with the NASDAQ trying to hover around the lows, we switch over, we look at NVIDIA, and it's near the lows as well. So we are going to, I'll take another out right now for 20 cents. Remember where, oopsies, that's the wrong stock. There goes NVIDIA right there to the upside. So yeah, so far so good there as we get another out at 70s, and we're starting to really get higher and higher now. I just actually punched out, get into a little bit more SpaceX there by accident. I thought it was on NVIDIA, but we get NVIDIA anyways at 60s, and we add a little bit to our SpaceX position that we didn't necessarily mean to, but SpaceX is trying to come back in right now into 112. Let's put another bid down there. Let's go to 112.20s or so. Let's go to 30s, see if we get what we just put on by accident there, and we'll see if we get a nice little downside trickle down in SpaceX. But yeah, man, it's NVIDIA, and it's trying to work out for us. So good outs there on NVDA into the 60s, another one at the 25 period moving average. So yeah, so far so good. Oh, and by the way, there's SpaceX again. So yeah, man, we're doing it here live for you. All of these trades, as Neil mentioned, are all on equities. They're not options. They're all the actual stocks themselves. So here we go, man. SpaceX blowing up again right now to the downside. 112 imminent, it seems like. And NVIDIA's doing well for us. Man, this has been a good morning. We'll go 2 for 2 here as we hit this, and we should start watching what's going on right now. Alphabet hitting hyperscalers. We already talked about how disastrous Meta's been and how that's not looking very good. And yeah, that's still true here for Meta, getting absolutely pumped to the downside again here today. 606 for Meta, down 3%. I'm hoping that doesn't last. I like Meta. It is a holding of mine. Let's see if Meta can somehow figure it out here. But yeah, good take, I guess, at SpaceX, and NVIDIA's trying to work for me. Trade number 2 of the day here, NVIDIA, 40 cents in the money.
There you go. And Mo Bugatti in there. Ooh, Nat Gas just came out there. Nope, broke up, not down, so no trade. For myself, just cancel orders. Watch all every day. Hit big on SPY put swing. What would you be buying today for long-term accounts? I don't think I'll get the stink bid in Alphabet because the level I like is much lower. So yeah, for myself, I don't think I'm going to get filled in. If I didn't own any Alphabet and it wasn't like the number 2 or probably number 2 right now, holding for myself that isn't an ETF, then I probably would pick that one up. But I have enough of it that I'm going to be waiting a little bit on that bad boy. Not Tesla. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. 280 on Tesla is a good level. Some of the pullbacks in the aerospace names are looking pretty good. So they could be interesting. But I'm not really looking at anything other than a couple of days on Alphabet. Just we had Nat Gas. Shoot, I just heard the build out of my ear, but it's still actually going upside. Anyway,
32 billion versus 29 billion.
32 billion versus 29 billion. But the trade from last week that didn't happen, well, I'm looking one direction of the break of the consolidation. It was low. So it didn't break lower. It means I don't get triggered in. And this is the reason I'm preferring the short, because it basically trends down all the time. So I'm not taking this trade if it's breaking higher. So next week, I'll throw the order again and see if Nat Gas gives us the goods. We're going to go up to Sia at the desk as the market tries desperately to hang on to the lows.
USO climbing up 6% on the day at the moment. IRGC Iran saying we will not allow the United States to use deceptive ceasefires to replenish its oil and ammunition reserves and then resume attacks. This coming from Iranian Fars News. USO on the rise, up above 6% at the moment.
Try to stop you out first. Thank you very much there, Sia. As Alphabet Yuck 318. Where the bottom ends up today, I don't know, everybody. Like you look at the daily chart, that's a pretty hefty gap from the trend line to the 200 period moving average, which is why I'm preaching patience. I still think it's going to be the best of the bunch. All right, IBIT, round 2.
Oh, good. I like your IBIT.
Round 2, if I get a topping tail and you lose VWAP again, then I'm just going to jump right back in when you lose VWAP and try to play you to the low. But I have to look at BMNR. You have to, I got to acknowledge it. Yes, I'm going to try to get back into IBIT, but let's be real. When BMNR was going higher, I was like, well, I don't know why it's stronger. ETH wasn't doing anything, so let's just take it out. Now right back at the low. So it did plunge. But it is what it is. You have to read the market as you see it in that moment. So we're going to get back over into IBIT. As I said, we got about 5 more pennies, and we're going to get Lucid as well, which, that price, I didn't really, it wasn't an attempt to get 666. It was effectively, the style, short the prior day low. That's the first level in a downtrend to look at, and then the prior day resistance spot was $7. So we shorted the first. It also happened to VWAP, but I'm sitting 640, and then a gap down to about 625. Lucid ended up, it wasn't on my list yesterday, but it ended up my best stock because of the way that it lost the volume weighted average price, absolutely plunging. But I want to remind everybody, this stock, like what it did for the longs was unbelievable. And if things get very nasty in this market, don't forget about Reddit. If Reddit sniffs the low from yesterday, I think that's a buy. Because we talked about how that story is not a confirmed Wall Street. It was like the Wall Street Journal talking about them breaking up with Alphabet. Again, this is not something which is for sure happening. It caught a bid at 167. If it even sniffs that today, I like that for a bit of a buy. But that's a day trade. And the question earlier was about the long-term account. I think it's more of a day trade off that low. Let's go to SIA. It is past 10:30. I think we're going to do a little sector watch.
Yes, sir.
It's early for sector.
You are absolutely right. We're going to go do a little bit of a sector watch. The SPY currently down over 8%. Let's take a look what's going on with the sectors over here. Lots to cover. Electric tech, you have NVIDIA that's down close to 2%. Apple down 1%. EVGO inching close to the percent mark to the downside. Now these chip names like MU, you have Dell, SDK, not a bad look over here. STX also not a bad look, I would say. MU's up 3.4%. TXN, however, continuing to slide a bit towards the downside, 3.9. Now 4% on the day. AMD just turned red. It's down 0.60%. Intel flat on the day. Cisco down close to 1% on the day. RTX is soaring up 7% on the day. You have tech services. Google obviously carrying that drag down, monstrous drag down since yesterday. You have Google down 7%. Microsoft down 1.9%. You have Meta down 3.5%. Oracle down over 1.5%. We're going to discuss a lot of news that we're seeing over here in the news segment at 1 p.m. So don't go anywhere. Be right here. Palantir trading down 1.2%. Netflix is flat. PANW inching closed, being down 3.5%. IBM flat on the day. CRWD down 2.6%. Finance, you have flatness right across WFC, BRKB, JPM, whereas you have Visa, MasterCard, and MS sliding further down over the 1% mark. Bank of America sliding closer to 8%, and GS down 2.2%. Retail trade, you have right off the bat, I feel like this is one of the sectors that is a bit bearish today across the sector board over here. You have consumer durables as well. That is one of the bears for today. You have retail trade. Let's focus on Amazon down 4.5%. Walmart down 2%. You have Costco down 8%. Home Depot 2%. TJX down 1% as well. There's one name that I always check in this sector over here. That for me is over here CVNA. That's down 2.5% over here. CASY up 2.5%. Health tech, Lilly up 1.3%. We had that news with Lilly about its drug over there, and that has passed both the trials, phase 3 trials. J&J trading flat at the moment. ABBV up 1%. MRK up 2%. And this one name in the sector, TMO, that is soaring very close to 9% today. Energy minerals, now, like I always say, this is one sector that you don't want to see super strong. Oil prices rising. Energy, probably the bull of the day. But again, not happy about this at the moment. Producer manufacturing, AMAT up 2.8, CAT up 1.6%, LRCX up 1%, GEV up almost 3.5% on the day. Consumer non-durables and consumer services are a mixed bag, but led by bearishness over here. KO down 1%, PG down close to 2%, PM down 1%, PEP down 1%. You have consumer services, Disney sliding further a bit over here, down 3% on the day. RCL is, I would say, considerably considerably, sorry about that, heading towards the 1% mark. Hilton also down 2% on the day, and BKNG down 3.2% here. Process industries, distribution, communications, a bit of a mixed bag over here, mixed sentiment, bit of flatness, bit of bearishness, bit of bullishness over here in some of the stocks. Communications, you have TMIS down 5% on the day, with T down 1.11% to be precise. Transportation, finally, UNP is up 5.5%, CSX up 5%, NSC is up 6.7% as well. I would say overall, with consumer durables, Tesla lagging further down over there, 3.5% almost on, 13.5% almost on the day. I would say it is not the best look over here for certain stocks, big names over here, but we're hoping that towards the end of the day, they turn green or at least make a bit of a reversal from their losses.
Market, thanks, Sia. The market just picked up. We got stopped out of that video when it broke 208, and then all of a sudden I looked over and I was like, what? So I don't know if there was just news there that just hit, but okay, NVIDIA, I see you. A nice move higher right into the 50-period moving average. So that's a nice little bump there for NVDA. And you had mentioned that AMD had finally gotten to the red side of trading.
I was surprised it wasn't already.
Yeah, so it just had a bounce back upside as well there. It was down to 549. Nice move higher. Tesla was just down 14%. Like this name definitely taking it on the chin just a little bit here as well. And of course, that's Tesla now down 13. Yeah, it did get into that 323 level. We can definitely have a bounce opportunity there, I would say. Almost feel like I want to short, to be honest with you, right now back in for NVIDIA based on that most recent move higher. But I do like the name, and I wouldn't feel right about losing more money on a short when I already liked the long there. Made a little bit, but then gave it back there. Just a cup of coffee there, but still down on NVIDIA, as, you know, no problem, again, trying to tell you guys, you know, what the story is with my trading. But yeah, other than that, I just saw someone putting in, what's up, Spencer Suarez? Thank you so much for hitting this up as well, Spencer. Your rate, oops, I closed the chat. I have to get it back open. But right into there, he just mentioned, there it is, Netflix. So we'll keep that going. Sia, don't worry about your mic. Andre is listening to it, and if there is a problem with it, we will adjust the mic. There's some people in there that Adara likes to sort of yell when she does some of the reports, so maybe the mic, no, I'm just saying. Maybe,
the gate, I think they call it.
Yeah, they need to change that up a little bit. So, you know, Andre or Fabian's over there, I think, working the board as well, he was. So if there are any problems with the sound, we will get that fixed. But hey, man, keep those posts going, because we are always looking for, no, someone just maybe said Sia's mic was too loud, but I don't know how it sounded in your ear. Sounded fine? Yeah, Fabian's the man, the myth, the legend. He's got it going.
He's locked and loaded.
No problem on that one. But yeah, there goes NVIDIA. Damn it. We wanted that long at the day's low. Unfortunately, you know, when the market's down almost 2% and looks to go lower, I gotta break out of that trade once it, you know, violates the low there, and that is what happened. So NVIDIA right now making, you know, that decision look incorrect. But for now, NVIDIA nicely cruising back up to VWAP. So that's a good story here for the NVIDIA longs. I hope some of you were able to hold on to that one. So, yeah, that's the story there on NVDA.
NVIDIA's off the lows, but man, like, to talk about something breaking the highs today, that's part of the AI play, that is a chip name. SMCI, of all things, is threatening that top break. It's yesterday's high at 32. The high is above 32. I get it, 32.30, but really that's where it rejected. And the same thing that we were seeing at 31.5 early in the morning yesterday seems like it's happening at the 32 level. Look at all the wick tops. Like, it's trying to break, and then failing. When it broke last time, it then turned into support and then made its next rally. So I think that's the pattern to look for. Break this high, turn it into support, barcode it, break the top, scalp to the high, and then that'll be it. Of course, I'll say all of this, and then I'll do a standard breakdown over in that bad boy. Also, this time I'm gonna, if the market wants to bounce here, how many, hit enter 3 times, and now it'll flash BM&R. Is what it is. Once this thing pops even a little bit, we're going to jump into the fade. And then DRAM, the memory chip names, which I would have thought if we're going to get led higher, it would not be SMCI. It would be like Micron or SK Hynix. But DRAM is kind of stalling out here at the 59 level after gapping up and looking so strong this morning. If this loses the volume weighted average price, it's a good bull flag. Obviously, most people will be looking for the bull flag break long side. I get that. But I like this for more of a breakdown. You look underneath the hood, there was just so much weakness in SK Hynix all morning long.
It's ripping.
Well, they got a bull flag going, but it's like could not break the high, and then they all came back underneath. The strongest name is SMCI. It's not Micron, it's not SK Hynix. That's the one that's threatening the tops, not these ones. They're kind of threatening that they want to lose VWAP the other way around. I just like trading DRAM. We do have to pay for locates, but you'd have to pay for SK Hynix too, and they're more expensive for us. Although that's really not by much. What we have not done, and usually we'll cover these a little bit better, your small cappers, it's ZCMD. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce the name of this. I believe it's a Chinese company, so good luck if you try to do so. Suffice to say, this one is disgusting. I don't know why they popped after doing an offering, but they announced an offering this morning, dropped, and then tried to squeeze, and then went back to doing what you would normally do if you have an offering, which is cascade into the $2 level. So this one is halted at 237. It's halted to the upside for what it's worth, indicating a 260 open. But there's a reason that this one is down 44% after yesterday's drop, and they did announce that offering. The low is about 140. We're going to go back up to SIA, and about 15 minutes to go, and then you're in the midday.
Google sliding down 6.7% on the day right now. Reports just coming in that Alphabet's future spending commitments have neared the number of $811 billion. Alphabet's future spending commitments have soared to $811 billion. It's inching closer to be down 7% on the day.
7%.
Yeah, I mean, getting lower. It's only at 319. I don't think it's horrible, but as Sia just mentioned, man, commitments,
That's
free
not
cash
good.
flow. There's been a couple issues there with that Google report. All right, we didn't get stopped out again up there at 1350. So with this move back in, we'll take another fill at 112.50. That's a couple times in a row that we've done this. SpaceX now, of course, $4 plus in the money as we continue to go lower. That was a mistake, so it's adding to my position, which makes it my average price worse, but we're still waiting for 112. And look, a bunch more outs right here. Let's let 112 break now and see if we get into 110 right there for SpaceX. Sharif, do not look up SpaceX right now. Huge move down. Yeah, nice little move there, all the way down to the downside. We'll just continue to watch out what's going on there. $4 there. A name that we talked about, GE Vernova getting hit recently. I'm right back to flat now on the CEG stock, which I'm very surprised at how well, and they're not the same. GE Vernova has the turbines and everything, but right into, which I still really like, right into here, and I'm actually thinking about picking up some Vernova if it keeps on going lower, but right into here, we initially bought right at these levels, and then we had to buy some more down here at 240, and our average price, so our first take was on the way down. We bought, what was this level here? Yeah, I think it was 280, and then we were in trouble. We did buy the 240s off of this level right there, whether or not it was 243 or whatever it was that one day where we dipped down. Actually, it was right into here. We got hit down the downside, and so we bought some more off of that level because we've already seen the bump, and then now CEG's back to 270. We might have bought here. I don't remember buying in the last couple of weeks, so I think we might have bought there. So on the way back in, first taking in around this 280 bottom there, and I'd have to go back and find exactly what's going on. I'll get my exact price for you after. But I kept on saying 280. So we're almost back to flat here on GE Vernova, on CEG here, Constellation. So definitely, wait a minute, if my average price was 280, I don't think I would have bought at 300 there, but I definitely got some down here. So I'll get back to you. Anyway, that's going higher right now over the last couple of days. So I like CEG there. Wanted to get a little bit into, and it's just like I picked Caterpillar. I also picked Google, right? And Google's getting down 10% there, close enough to that here today. But Caterpillar was another way to sort of play the build out and what's going to be happening, hopefully in the rebuild of,
Well, they win in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, so I really like Caterpillar there, and that's been getting hit, right? We liked it up there at 950. It's down to 905. We'll see if that can get going back to the upside again. Caterpillar down to some key levels there. So I think now, just like we had Brian Shannon on, we talked about things that we love, and including the XBI. By the way, holy shnikes right now. There goes not really. There goes SpaceX downside right now, as that is now 111. We did not kid yesterday when I was saying 110. And then after 110, man, 105. And then it's just like, okay, we've already lost $5 since 9:30. So we'll see if there's another $5 in this name. Then all of a sudden, you're starting to hit the panic button maybe if you're long. And I think, whatever's being sold, Shrieve's already told us that it's about 30% of the current public float right now that is looking short on this name. But I think a lot of this is, nervous hands heading into the lockup. And then I really do feel like August 6th, SpaceX will have one of the biggest up days it's had since its inception.
ARM had a huge move up when the lockup expired because
just a call I have.
It was another one. Well, I mean, I feel the same way, and I cited ARM as about the reason why. Because I can remember being like writing the note in the morning, the lockup expiration, we're going to look for the short. And I think there was like one short and one loss. I'm like, this ain't a short. Because it was like it's explosive. Everybody expecting the same thing. They'd sold into it. Yeah. And it was just a short covering rally for like half an hour off of the open. It was straight up on that day. I should pull up on eSignal if I can, but I'll have to do it on, I'll go to eSignal at some point. Tesla's now down 13%. And if you like that 323 level, the low from April, well, you're here right now if you happen to want it. It's just continuing its bleed over and over again. It's been one of those mornings, like hold on to your butts, hold on to your shorts. I got the last leg in Lucid. I'm waiting for 16,625. So we basically shorted the one and only pop off of the open that happened here. Risked it it was under 10 cents, but call it 10 cents. It was kind of 8, but it doesn't really matter. And now we're looking for into here, 625. But the more the market falls, do not forget this one, Reddit. Reddit's going to, at this point, it looks like it's going to go red, but I think this one's going to put in a higher low. If it gets all the way to 167 after yesterday's story, I think that's a buy, but it can easily put in a higher low at the prior close at $170 as well. There's a couple of places to look for a bounce on this sucker. It's still green on the session. And again, go to this daily chart. Every time this is bounced to the 50-period moving average, it has broken the 50, regained the 50, and then made a prior high. Broken the 50, regained the 50, and then made a new high. So it's broken the 50. All it has to do now is regain the 50, and then it makes a fresh high. There's something with an upward trend. You're always going to be able to find at least one. Oil as well. USO just broke the high today. What's the super chat? Nick, we've got Cleveland Cliffs, great earnings, breakout swing off downtrend as well. I'm going to have a look at that one for you, Nick. Thank you for the super chat, Nick. We appreciate you. I know we have a couple more new super chats to get to. Yeah, that's a great breakout, but if you're not already in this, like that's 20%. If you're not in on the break at 10, it's like, ooh, are you chasing it right into the moving averages where there's an exit point? Got to be in that one already, for sure. And then Mo Bugatti one more time. Hit big on SPY put swing. Oh, we did address this one. We did address that one, but thank you again, Mo Bugatti. What's the next one here? 1024 JWD. Apple turning things around today? Probably not. I haven't looked at Apple this morning, but my guess is it might not be. It's only down 1.5%. It's doing better than Microsoft. It's doing better than Alphabet. It's doing better than Amazon. But that's because they're not doing the big CapEx spend, everybody.
Oh, not stressed out at all, my guy.
But look at
this is
yuck.
SpaceX is just. This is the only trade today. Like, we have a small hit there on NVIDIA, which is almost nothing. And just Houston, yes, Fabian, we do have a problem. And there it goes, man. We just bought 1120s right there. Multiple shorts, 116. And this is the kind of action that you're going to get watching with us right now. It's 1050. We left you yesterday with a $6 winner in SpaceX. We start you today with the exact same thing. And the best part about these trades is really the risk management, because our stop out was 117. It was actually 116.50, if you guys remember, and then I changed it up to 117. So like this stop on this trade was about $1 right now, and you're in the money now 5. So 5 to 1 there, and still going lower off this move. So I don't, we'll go to the gym, we'll come back and we'll see what's up with SpaceX. I mean, we'll put some stops out wherever the 50-period moving average is when we leave. but definitely downside play. The only sad thing is we only have 10% left right now on this name, but it's downside. It's SpaceX, and it is awesome. So there we go, man, to the downside. Shout out to my lovely wife who just messaged me and said SPCX there. So shout out to you, Marissa. Thank you so much for watching and always supporting. We have a big date night again tonight. We're going out to a restaurant in Little Italy. So it should be a lot of fun there tonight. Multiple date nights this week. And last night we didn't get home till 10:30, but we were at the Diamond, of course. No kids playing of mine last night, but I am the coach, and we went there. We got an exciting last-minute win. Marissa, also the scorekeeper, does an amazing job, and it was 2-1 in the 6th inning. It was a pitcher duo. I gave one
comeback win, or you held the win?
No, we had comeback win. I gave the motivational speech. The kids listened, and then it was nothing but love. After that, we stole home a couple times, got some big hits, and it was nice. We wound up winning 6-2. So we exploded for 5 runs in the top of the 6th, and then
the other team had Jeff Hoffman's kid closing.
Yeah, exactly, and they also had Vlad, so we were good for that one there as well. All right, let's go back over. It's 10:53, only 7 minutes left to our show. Then the midday madness begins, where they'll be talking about PAVS, ZCMD, Sora, and hopefully a lot of mega cap talk on the midday as well, because that's what's moving here today. Let's go back over to the desk and see what's up with Sia.
Two things up in the money markets right now. The ECB, European Central Bank, keep borrowing costs on hold as of today, but leaving room also for more tightening in the upcoming months, as there is a widening conflict, as we do know it, at the Middle East, pushing up all these oil prices, energy prices, driving them up again. ECB has kept its benchmark deposit rate at 2.25% as of now, but has said that it was, quote unquote, closely monitoring the intensity and duration of the stock, as well as its indirect and second round effects. I'm sorry about that. Finally, let's take a look. Sorry, we have EUR USD, the pair, down 0.37% at the moment. Let's take a look at the dollar, the DXY right now, currently trading around the 101.5 region, up 0.3% on the day, hovering near, I would say, the highest level that it's been on about 3 weeks. So this upward momentum, again, primarily driven by the escalating geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, which have, once again, sent energy prices surging. So it seems like oil and energy affecting the markets vastly here.
Thank you very much, Thirsty. I know we have a super chat from Mo Bugatti, but PAVS just twice hit the halt band at 771. This has halted upside a couple of times, opened up. Oh, it's going to hit the band again. 771 I have as a limit down. Oh, it's moved down. So the halt level might have moved underneath the volume weighted average price. Yeah, it's now at 763. It's threatening to halt again. 15 seconds, that's how long it takes. It can either go up from here or it can halt to the downside, unfortunately, if you got trapped in this one. But I'm guessing, hopefully most people were long early, and there it is. So now halted, initial tap 750 on PAVS, and now we will throw up the super chat from Mo Bugatti. Started your Robinhood at 2.5K Monday, and SPY puts and Alphabet put you at 51K today. Cashing out, this is wild. I'm going back to 2.5 next week and going to win the lottery again. Thanks, you guys.
Neil, did you see that Jamaican couple?
Sharif just said, Neil, did you see that Jamaican couple? The answer is,
Oh, yeah. Just moved from Jamaica and they won $72 million. No way. Yes, yes.
72 Jamaican?
No, 72 million real, and they're going back to Jamaica with that money, man. Like immediately.
Cut and run. Cut and run. You buy a lot of beef patties with that mess. Although I don't know, man, they might be unhealthy. Too many carbs in a beef patty, there, Sharif.
Yeah, way too many carbs, man.
Way too many. Although they're absolutely, you know what? They're delicious, and you gotta add. The best way to do it is to add more carbs to it. You take the Jamaican beef patty and you wrap it in cocoa bread, and then put more carbs up in that, and it's absolutely delicious. And I will carb out to it all day, every day, Sharif. I'm keeping it real. Oh, you have any idea how good? Oh, anyways, it doesn't matter.
Can I comment something? While we're on the talks of Jamaican food, I think the best Jamaican food place in Toronto is Wanda's. It's in Mississauga.
So then not in Toronto. Got it. Okay. All right. So we'll move on that one. Best Jamaican food in Toronto is in Mississauga, according to Sia.
Well, I guess you're talking about the GTA.
So
the Greater Toronto Area.
Greater Toronto Area, yes. There. Yeah, come on, Joe, give her a break, man. Mississauga is basically in Toronto, Joe. Come on, man. Is that the GTA? There we go. Always correcting Sia there, Joe. Very inappropriate. Okay, so as we go, man, only a couple more minutes left, and we'll wait to see what happens here with SpaceX. Going to stop out if it breaks through 112.50, and I'll see you guys after, and hopefully we'll be able to put on another good show there into the afternoon. But, what's been moving around, I know Sia did sort of the look of the general market. Let's have one more quick idea here before we go over to the midday finance today, getting hit a little bit, and JP Morgan holding out okay, but it's Goldman Sachs down 2%, Morgan Stanley. So maybe look at some weakness here. Bank stocks have had really great quarters. Goldman Sachs down 2.5%, maybe a great opportunity to pick up some value there in the financials. And we always get questions about long term this, long term that. I put some J&J in the long term at 220. We just recently bought a little bit more on the day that we made it one of our picks. We bought some more J&J that day. I think that was 250 or 248. So that's up again. Basically all today. It's up $2 there today. Eli Lilly's good. Some of these CapEx spenders like in Amazon is down 5% as well. It's all one giant bleep hole, so she's good. Yes, thank you so much for that, Adam James abroad. Carvana down a little bit there. Target down as well. Walmart down to 107 again. So that name continues to get pumped a little bit there. And in the technology, so the technology services today, like Google down 7%. Google's at the lows right now, 317, and going lower. The market's at the lows as well there. So as this market continues to fall all over itself, it's Meta getting crushed, it's Oracle, everything in the space. Do not look at your account today. CrowdStrike down 3, PanW down 3. Like they're all just getting absolutely pumped right now. And, like I said, everyone's smart on the way up. It's on the way down where you make the decisions. Marvell there as well, NVIDIA, Apple. The only trade we lost on was this NVIDIA long, and now it's at 207. So we only had 2 trades today. So we'll have to wait to see. We go 1 for 2 and at probably, the best spot I've been at all morning this week. So, we'll just continue to watch out for SpaceX to the downside with only 30 seconds left. Not much winning there. We should have that President Trump
so much winning
meme there where it's like, all we're doing is winning. It doesn't look like that today, but I think the markets will be back.
We got the dancing one.
We had David mention, and I guess that's not looking very accurate right now, as David, the early super chat mentioned possibly the market turning green today. That's looking less.
Well, likely. I think
what could happen?
What did happen, the green part, I don't know that I would have been on board, but sometimes when you're down that far, there was that opening candle on the 15. It was buying to try to close in the gap, but look what happened. It goes right into VWAP and then resume action to the downside. So, I think there's still an opportunity to short the pops, at least for a little bit here. There's the one.
There it is.
It's too much, and I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more.
We have to win more.
We don't have to, but hopefully we will.
This morning, all the shorts have been winning for sure, no questions asked, but we're also going to be winning one last time at the desk for us, and then we'll flash to the midday. We're going to see you first, and then we throw you to Joey Options and the Professor.
Let's quickly wrap up. That intro is amazing, by the way, Andre. That's great. So now, Bitcoin, let's quickly wrap it up and throw it to the guys. UK-based The Smarter Rep company has announced the sale of about 178 of its Bitcoin. That's raising roughly $11.7 million to fund repayment of convertible debt that is held by the group. The company now holds 2,700 Bitcoin. So with that, you have Bitcoin down on the day, very close to 2% mark, trading around the $64,800 region. Ethereum at the moment is down 2.11%, trading around $1,892 region. Solana down 2% as well, trading around the $76 region. Not a good look on Bitcoin here. We know what's the reason. Sending it to the guys for the midday show.